Hey guys, welcome to episode 100. 100 of 4PlayAnimecast. It is the 25th of August, 2018, and we are in for a special treat. Again, 100 episodes in. It's been a long, long time. 4 years to be precise. I think we started this in August or September
I
of
don't know. Don't look at
2014.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Either
Who's
way.
we?
I'm not a founding member.
But yeah, we
are.
yeah, actually Toast is a founding member.
What?
But, hey,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are.
What? When? Since when?
Since this first episode?
hinted with Ash.
Well, for your
Anyway.
information, I put it as episode 10 on the screen, and no one corrected me. It should actually be episode 100.
Oh my god. Anyways, again, it's been a long time. Again, Tess and I have been here since the
What
start,
Nier?
but
I'm
we
pretty sure
definitely-
Nier too.
Sorry.
No,
No.
Nier is not a founding member. He wasn't even on when I started listening.
Then who are the founding members? I don't remember.
It's me, you, Kenton, and
Self.
well, Self was theoretically like a guest, and then he became like one of the founding members, and then he became a guest again. It's sort of how it worked out. But either way, that's sort of how
What?
I mean, Self kind of went in and out, but he was definitely one of our founding members. But anyways, again, it's been a lot of changes. Definitely more than a couple of years, and we just want to have a special podcast where we're kind of making this like an award show, but instead of making like top 10 or best anime of the year or whatever, we're looking back at memory lane starting from 2014 and just seeing that you know we're seeing top anime or worst anime or most overrated or whatever from 2014, and instead of doing top 5 or top 10, we're doing 4. So this will be pretty succinct, but it'll also be pretty fun. I think we're going to have a lot of very, I want to say, interesting categories coming up. So I guess let's get right there. We're going to be starting off with top 4 best anime. Again, this is since 2014 started. We're not going to count. We're going to try to really stay away from sequels if possible.
Oops.
We're not going to count the series that overlapped into 2014. But yeah, that's sort of how we did the cutoff. So we're going to start from there. Start from the top 4 best anime. Anyways, do you want me to start, or does anybody else want to go?
Wait, since 2014? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Oops.
Those were the
Oh,
rules as
God.
started from the very beginning. Yes.
Yeah. Anyways,
Darn. Okay, you go.
I'm gonna-
I'll think of mine.
all right. So top 4 best anime for me, and this honestly for me is in no particular order. Like, by the way, we can
It
have
should be
order.
if it's a top 4. Don't skip
Okay,
that. I
I
believe
mean,
in you. You can do it.
all these are pretty close to my heart throughout the. But so I guess starting with number 4, I'll start with それでも会は美しい. Even so, the world is beautiful. And this was, I believe, the year it came out, which was, I believe, in like 2014 or so. It actually won my best slice of life series award that year. And so what I thought about this series was it is a shoujo series. It's like set in like some sort of like another world where the girl controls the rain, and then she and like sort of like almost Shoda-ish, like a very, very young prince, a very young, malicious, like but intelligent prince, gets together and helps his nation and romances each other kind of. But it was a very, I want to say, peaceful series. Usually with shoujo series, I'm just like, this is way too slow, or like the pacing sucks or whatever. But the way that the shoujo series incorporated the other world and sort of still added the shoujo sort of romance, and still had the characters sort of be more unique. I mean, the protagonist was like a younger boy, not to be weird or anything, but it was like a younger character. It wasn't like usual shonen like, oh man, I'm hunkering over you. I did like a kabedon, like wall slam thing. I did that. It's like it wasn't like that. So it was a very interesting character cast, and I really liked the way it kind of incorporated both the world in it while making the shoujo series more peaceful instead of boring. So that's definitely shut up. But yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite anime. Number 3, this one some people might know a little bit more. Seikai Seifuku, Bouryaku no Zvezda, or World Invasion Zvezda plot. So this one, I think, definitely people just had like no idea where it went, where it was going, where it went, and where it really like ended. A lot of it was pretty crazy from start to beginning, but I really, really like the zaniness of it. And it was weird because it was an episodic series, but at the same time, it grew this like cast of characters pretty quickly, pretty rapidly over 12 episodes. And then at the end, it kind of said, "Oh, here's a backbone theme of, you know, it's not like a complete like red pill, blue pill, like you got to fight the power. It's not like fuck the police kind of thing, but it very much sort of said to the main character like, oh, do you want to go beyond? Do you want to sort of break out of this sort of tiresome system that you have and just kind of do this, world domination plot, right?" And although the ending was pretty weird, I think the way it kind of started that small theme without making it too ridiculous, but still having the ridiculous, like background and the characters and everything, made it a very interesting series for me and made a very sweet series for me. It has solid audio visuals. And for me, it was like taking in dark chocolate while I was watching. It was a very good series. So
But I don't
I'm
like
gonna
dark
go.
chocolate.
Oh, some people do.
Like who?
Number 2, I want to say Aristozoroku or
Really?
Aristozoroku. Yes, and I know it had a very bumpy road at the beginning, especially like the first like 1 or 2 episodes, where we were saying, the audio visuals of this aren't like par. There are too many studios that were subcontracted. They messed this up. 3D looks garbage, and it's all like a big. But then it fixed itself up, and the way it really, I mean, the resolution was one thing. I think the resolution was relatively predictable in how it went, but the way it kind of created this interaction between kid and the grandfather, and that was the important part. The important part wasn't the fact that there was this like fantasy thing and the father had to deal with it. It was the very sort of idea of and I guess the alien thing kind of was part of emphasizing the point. It was a kid who had no experience but kind of wanted to do stuff and maybe could do some surprising stuff compared to the people around her versus uh, uh, sort of a grandfather who really couldn't do anything. But the idea was his experience and his knowledge and his wisdom sort of made it so that he didn't need to have these like superpowers. He could just kind of bring the answer on at the right moment. And that sort of was a very interesting way to approach a slice of life cast that I really appreciated. So that one gets second place for me. And the first place, I think, goes to Mahotsukai no Yome,
Hmm.
so the Ancient Magus' Bride.
Hmm.
Uh,
Interesting.
and and I think, I mean, I don't think this one really needs too much explanation. The source material was really good. This was uh, a straight adapt in terms of story, but it did add a little bit more in terms of the audio visuals, which was good because I always want my anime adaptations, if it is going to adapt from a light novel or a manga or whatever, I want to go above and beyond. That's the point. It's like there's a medium and it's adding something to it. I want it to add something to it. I don't want it to be just the pictures, but it has color. That's not impressive. So,
They move too.
oh shit, you're right.
God.
But yeah, it enhanced my experience of that series, and not only that, again, the story was very solid, very sort of unique story between the girl, and Vegas. And I don't know. I feel like these past 4 years has been like the in terms of like selling moral themes, it's been pretty standard. So a lot of times we've had to look to a cast that had sort of these different um backgrounds, different backgrounds, different ways of thinking about these moral themes. And I think Ancient Mutt has really helped to deliver that. So definitely Maosuke no Yome, by sort of combining everything together in a very nice package, gets my number one for top four anime the past 4 years. So yeah,
What about Hibike Euphonium? Is that
I'm
anywhere?
not gonna comment on that.
It's not. It's not up there. No.
Park.
Alright.
You want to go next?
Do I?
Yeah,
Yes.
I believe in you.
So for mine, I did two things. I cheated a little bit because I didn't want to have too many similar things to a lot of people. So like I kind of sifted out that along with I also kind of didn't want to pick my top ones
Okay.
that were from like previous awards. Though I might have I might have those
I
might
think
have
that's
still
fine.
slipped in.
You have to, because this is encompassing 4 years, and don't worry, your list won't be the same as mine. I guarantee it.
Well, I'm very much aware of that. But yeah, oh actually, you know what? No, never mind. I have some of my thoughts on. But so from mine were in no particular order, so I'm gonna try and order them myself on the fly.
Okay.
So for my number four, I have yeah, I'll put Hoseki no Kun.
Hmm.
And I just think like pretty much what I liked about it, I don't know, there was a lot to like about it.
Yeah.
I think from just the story itself, I thought it was like a pretty decently original story that they were telling. So I thought that it was pretty neat that you not only had like this story that really isn't anything that's like similar to stuff that's coming out at the time. Also, you have this all CG art style that's done so well at the same time. So that was kind of like really surprising how much I enjoyed that series. Uh, and I'd really like to see more of it just because of pretty much the audio visuals alone. So that's kind of why I did put it at four, though. I would put it at four just because it's like it is a series that I really enjoyed, but it's not, I guess, a series that I would, um, I guess, and it wasn't a series like I really anticipated liking as much. Like I wasn't hyped up about it, and then
So the gap
watched it.
between what you expected and like what you got was pretty big.
Yeah, so I don't really know. I don't really know if like I expected more. If I would have been like, well, the story is like a little. It doesn't have a. It's pretty simple, but I also don't think that that's kind of an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah. So for number three, I put Shirobako. I really liked Shirobako. I thought that it was a pretty concept. I had watched, I believe, Hanasake Iroha before I did that, and since it's supposed to be part of like that trilogy of
It's a
working,
pretty big like part.
yeah, like it was just a pretty big, it was just a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So, not only was that, I guess, just I don't know. I thought its audio visuals were kind of stand out in a way at the time when I was watching it for like a pure like slice of life series. So that was like one thing that really brought me into it. And then I guess the other thing to say about it is just like the story it told was really nice, and how many characters it was able to include while also developing them over time and making you
Right.
actually care about what the hell is going on.
But
You also don't really see too many, I guess, too many shows in these past 4 years that are actually about like post, like actual workforce for like the workforce's sake in a way.
and
If that
actually
makes
like go into
sense.
more detail.
Hmm?
And actually go into more like detail.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's not like the focus of the show is the job itself. I feel like you don't see a ton of that. So
There are like trivia shows, but it's like very hard.
yeah,
It's much harder to find these sort of full on like committed to like, exploring this theme.
yeah, and it was a neat idea to have like over the course of a 24 episode series, them essentially producing within the show, supposed to be producing 12 episode, like a 12 episode show each time.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really cool too. Like halfway through the season, you're on, you know, the first show gets resolved essentially, and the second one. So that was neat. My number two, I have now number one and number two. So they're a toss up. Cause,
What's the toss up about it?
okay, because I'll probably get shit from my number one. But my
'Cause they
number
both
two,
have equal amounts of lollies in them.
well,
So
no,
slowly.
actually, one
She
has
missed on
more
me.
than the other. Number one has more than number two, because number two is Barakamon.
Predictable.
Barack Obama. Yeah.
Now, Barakamon,
Technically showed up, right?
technically, what?
I thought it was gonna be Flip Flappers.
Yeah, never mind. It is.
God.
I forgot it
Listen. Now, I don't know. Barakamon, like, I don't really know what. I don't really know a lot to say about Barakamon other than like I would consider it one of the best slice of life of all time so far.
Rockemon is very
Are you
solid.
saying it's better than Lucky Star?
Started to come out
Listen.
Every time you said all time. Is it
I said
better
all
than
time.
Lucky Star?
I
would,
said one of the best. Okay, I haven't
I would-
ranked.
I would
What
say
it-
it's better.
if it
I would say
follows,
I
like-
enjoyed Barakamon better for the reasons of like being a actual like 12 episode, you know, you have a beginning and you have an end to essentially this story. Like it's not a hard end, but it begins and it ends in a reasonable manner that leaves you satisfied as a viewer. Like to me, like Barakamon, yeah, there are places they could go with it. But I'm like fine not seeing anything more, you know?
Right.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with this being essentially the end.
Right.
It also had a really, really good OP and ED, which didn't hurt either. And I just think like just the overall pacing of it was really nice. What was interesting too is that I did a turnaround on it at one point because I'd started watching it, but then I wasn't crazy over. For some reason, I was averse at first to the use of what's her name? The actual like child voice actor at the time.
I know.
She was really young at the time. I think she was
yeah.
like 10 years old or something.
Yeah, it's similar to how they also hired that person for hired that really young girl for Sweetness and Lightning. Amamato.
Yeah, she was actually also in Barack too.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I was averse to that for some reason at first, but then, you know, over time, like I guess like I gave it after a few episodes, and I got used to hearing that.
Mhm.
And like her performance was really good too. So
Yeah.
yeah, so no real complaints there. And yeah, just audio visual wise, like that was solid.
Oh yeah.
The visuals were solid for sure. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it definitely was like didn't really dip or kind of like take you out at any point
Yeah,
in time.
or
So
no episode one struggles, so to say.
yeah, no dips. It was consistent. So
Yeah.
consistency is pretty good.
Okay.
And now to my number one.
Ah, yes.
Number one series in the past 4 years. It's Gochusa.
Okay.
I had it.
My
I had it
number.
as one of the ones for
Oh,
mine,
no,
but
oh
then
my
I was
God.
like, I like put it out as the last one. I was like, I think some bad things are gonna happen if I do this.
No, that's my number one.
That's fine. I thought for a
Best
minute you were
series
gonna
in the
say.
past 4 years.
A
For a
terrible
minute.
fate awaits you.
I thought you were gonna say Sakura Quest, and I was like,
Damn
you're
it.
gonna
you
you're
liar.
gonna have to change your name, dude.
I gotta change my name.
Go
I'm
into go into the wilderness, the YouTube wilderness.
More like Go
I
Choose
change.
Soul 969.
God damn it. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, so this is another one where it's like it's hard to really like talk about in a way of like to nail down a lot.
Was it because of the lollies?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Whoa,
you know, that's part of it.
you can't say
Hard.
nailed down and lollies in the same sentence.
This is 2018, sir.
Damn, dude. I gotta start.
Yeah.
I gotta start writing samurai manga.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyways, keep going.
but so I don't know. I guess like going into this, like I don't know when I had actually found it. Like I came across it and I asked you about it. And I remember I was like,
I
should I check this out? And you were like, yeah. Like why not?
yeah.
And
you
I
like
guess
that kind of thing, don't you?
yeah. No, actually at the time it was fairly early on and I hadn't watched like a whole lot of
Yeah. Well, it was like he like told me some of the stuff, and then I was like, well, you might as well watch because it's like, well, I think I asked you like, were you okay with like slower series like this or something like that, and then you were
yeah,
like,
I was like,
yeah,
fuck it, why not?
and then you watched it, yeah.
Yeah, and so um there's just like a lot about the series that I thought was really interesting. Like in
Mhm.
general, I think the concept is fun. The
Right.
idea of
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
like the cafe stuff being sort of like a trivia, sort of like background element in a way
Like the
to a
thing
slice
was,
of life series.
like each of the girls had their themes, but it wasn't like overdone. Like you know how it's like there are some like series where it's like the four girls or whatever, however many girls have their themes, but it's like they live and die by their themes, right? It wasn't really like that, which was good.
Yeah, that actually, yeah. Now that you bring that up, that is
It's like the
a
blonde girl was like poor, but she wasn't like like she wasn't like, oh my god, I was fucking poor. Like it wasn't like stressful like to watch.
yeah. And the sort of like the punchline for every joke that she was involved in and whatnot wasn't sort of like that one single character trait.
Right. That's important.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples of where that actually sort of is the idea, and that like
Yeah.
happened recently with this series Comic Girls, which is why I didn't like that series all that much.
Yeah.
Um,
I was actually thinking about that when I was making
Yeah.
contrast.
so yeah, I think that's pretty solid. I think overall the pacing pretty nice. Like each season had, like I said with Barakamon, like each season had a sort of, it had like a beginning and then an end, especially for like a more episodic slice of life series. Like it had a satisfying like ending to it to like wrap
Right.
up
Right.
sort of the season, which is nice to have, especially when at the time I imagine they sort of knew that they were going to have a second season.
Mhm.
So I can't imagine that's like sort of a easy thing to do as well.
Right.
So that was nice. I think the way that they introduced the entire idea of the character Tippy was kind of wild to me, and how well it actually plays off, because
Yeah,
it's a
it's-
fucking old man's soul essentially trapped in a rabbit, and they just
Well-
make nothing of it.
Yeah, the biggest issue with stuff like this is how conscious you want to make the audience of the magic, right? So it's like the most prominent example is Clannad, right? Where it's like, oh man, you're doing fancy slice of life stuff, blah, and the fucking snowland, and you're like, what?
Wait a
that's-
minute.
Yeah, exactly. So
But
I think
Spire, what's her face explains what the isekai world is.
yeah,
So
I
it's-
totally got the explanation. Like the first time I went
maybe
through.
you should have paid more attention.
Go man. But yeah, it's like there's some series that really fuck pooch in terms of just
No one says that.
including
No one
Yeah,
says. No one says that turn of phrase.
Yeah, they do.
it's
I thought you.
Just-
No, people say jump the shark. I've never
They
Or
heard
say
that.
screw
another
the
phrase.
pooch.
or
Never
yeah,
heard
screw
of
the
that.
pooch.
That's
Correct,
that's
screw the
gross.
pooch is the correct term. But
All right.
anyways, they just like there's some series that completely fuck it up in terms of how they sort of approach it, right? But it's like with Gochiusa, it was very like it was there, and it provided some fun times. Oh, this grandfather is like maybe giving advice or whatever, but then like you're not like, all right, what's this grandfather doing? You're never like that, which is very nicely done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're never really sitting there questioning like, man, what's the deal with the rabbit? Like, when's he
Seinfeld
getting
skit.
out?
Full
Like,
Seinfeld.
yeah, it's like when are they making the golem harness his soul back?
Yeah.
What's happening? I think the only part they did that with, which was honestly like made it even funnier in a way, was probably when oh god, what's her name? When Coco like actually fucking they have like a flashback and she essentially like hexed him into becoming the rabbit.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But overall, yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I think overall like the ability to balance all of that, the sheer amount of characters on top of all of that,
On top of
Probably-
the other stuff, yeah.
yeah, on top of like it's like the sheer amount of characters, like balancing slice of life with comedy, whether it be slapstick or like wordplay, etc. The trivia, sort of like you just mentioned, the magic stuff, balancing all of that and making it work well together to me was like just honestly like really impressive. And I still haven't really seen. I guess I don't want to say I've seen it. I haven't seen a series balance. Actually, no. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I haven't really seen a series balance like that much as well the past 4 years. So
Right. Okay. So again, thank you for your list. Coach Use is definitely an interesting choice. And now we'll move on to Toast. Toast.
You really want me to go next?
I mean, somebody has to go next.
You're gonna have to go
Somebody. There's two people for me to choose.
What if I told you I'm not ready?
oh
Okay,
my.
You have had like 5 days, 6 days. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Here, you want to go since you seem like you're ready?
All right, Nier, just go.
Okay.
It's called saving the best for last.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But so unlike Dark, my top four, I did not weed out the stuff that I have previously given awards to.
I had to
That's
run
fine,
that
that's-
back. I
that's
didn't
fine.
weed out it.
Yeah. So 3 of my 4 are series that I have given best of the year to.
That just
Uh,
means that they're
in the
strong
past-
series.
No, that it makes sense though. So it's like you don't
Yeah,
have
because I mean they're fantastic series. But
Yeah.
so I'm probably not going to splurge on them for too long.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna give my reasoning as to why I picked them, and move on to the next. So number 4 is Sangatsu no Lion,
Okay. Yes, yes, Sangatsu no Lion.
which I gave my uh anime of the year to, I believe. I'm pretty sure I gave it right.
The year it came out.
Yeah. Sangatsu
20,
no Lion.
2016.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
you
sure I
definitely
gave
gave it at least one award when it came
Um,
out.
which is a series about a professional shogi player and his dealings with life, which is a series by Shaft. And
Mhm.
I gave this the number 4 slot because when I was watching this show, it really gave me hope into just like the future of Shaft in general, right? Because it was a series where Shaft finally gave a directorial role to somebody other than Akiyuki Shimbo,
Right.
even if it was just like assistant director, co-director kind of thing. It showed to me that Shaft is at least thinking of handing the reins to somebody other than Akiyuki Shimbo right there.
Well, I mean, Akiyuki Shimbo was part of a triad, like a trinity at Shaft, right? But the issue was in the recent years, Akiyuki Shimbo himself got too much of the credit, and people like Onuma Shin started working at places like Silver Fox and Silverlink and stuff like that. So Satellite stuff.
Yeah.
So the routes kind of diverged. But yeah.
Yeah. But the series was really, really good, and
Mhm.
it was one of those series that deals with like the pressures of being a professional, like anything,
Mhm.
really well. Especially because it's not an athletic thing, right? So it's not like it doesn't fall into like sports anime tropes.
Mhm.
It's for the most part a slice of life series. It's a drama series, and I think it just deals with the problems that the character is presented with very well, and just yeah, the way it gave me a glimmer of hope in Shaft's future, like
They're not
maybe
dependent
branching
on.
out, bringing in new talent, new directors, stuff like that, and making something that's still unique but not like
Shitty.
copy paste like Shaft, right?
Yeah.
Because
Also
Shaft,
stuff that's not like shitty because it's like before Saga Line, they started doing stuff like Kaku City Actors, right? And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like that was a reach out, that was an outreach, but it's like at the same time, like Macaca City Actors wasn't very good.
yeah,
So
it was not good at all. But yeah, this series gave me a lot of hope for Shaft, and I like Shaft quite a bit, so that's why it gets my number 4. My number 3 is I think the one series I haven't given a Anime of the Year award to, which is Mob Psycho 100.
I thought you
mhm.
did.
No, I
It
gave it
got
like uh,
visual.
yeah, best visuals, I believe. I think we all gave it best visuals the year it came out.
I didn't.
Yeah,
For me. It was probably Unlimited Layworks.
probably. But Mob Psycho 100, you know, very very popular series. Adaptation of the uh webcomic, right? By one,
Yes.
which is very crudely drawn webcomic. And Bones did an extremely good job of keeping that art style in spirit, but also making it extremely nice looking. The uh, visual direction, the shot composition, and just like everything to do with the animation was like absolutely beautifully done. And I think, like Spire mentioned earlier, it's one of those cases where uh, you have an adaptation and it goes above and beyond, right? Because I mean, it kind of has to, right? Because the web comic by one, it's very minimal, right?
Mhm.
There's not a whole lot there in terms of visuals, but Bones uses what it has and uh, takes it a step further, right?
Mhm.
And I think that uh, along with the fact that the characters, the cast, the writing, just everything about the series is just extremely well done.
Right.
I think it's one of those series that will probably stand the test of time for quite a while and be one of those things where people are just like, yeah, go back and watch this because it's great, right?
Right.
My number two is I think this was the first annual award show I was on, but I gave Kekai Sensen
Mm.
my anime of the year.
Blood Blockade Battle. Right.
Yeah, Kekai Sensen, otherwise known as Blood Blockade Battlefront, was an action series, comedy series, mix and match, also by Bones.
You like
And
them bones, huh?
yeah, I like Bones. And it is an adaptation, but it's an adaptation in an era where Bones was like, trying to take adaptations and then like insert their own little thing in. And they inserted a few characters into Kekai Sensen in the adaptation.
Right.
And in my opinion, they were actually very well done. They added a lot to the story, and I splurged a lot about Kekai Sensen when I gave it the Anime of the Year award. So I probably won't talk about it too much here. I just think it was just a fantastic series, like throughout.
Mhm.
It stumbled a little bit at the beginning. I remember initially talking about it being like, oh, I don't know what this series really, wants to be, because it was kind of balancing its comedy and its action and, this weird, like episodic stuff. But then, as the series goes on, it kind of comes into its own and it just becomes something that's really, really, really enjoyable. And I think it's going to be one of those series that's in my top whatever list
Right.
for quite a while, quite a long time.
Mhm.
And my number one is another series that I've given an anime award to, or anime of the year award to, and it's Hoseki no Kuni.
Yeah.
I predicted
I
that.
expected this.
Yeah,
You like
not
those Coonies, huh?
not the most unpredictable list I've made. I'll admit that, but
Fine.
I think Hoseki no Kuni is a series that kind of stands out to me just because of kind of the values I have with what makes an anime, what makes a series, what makes an adaptation, what makes like media in general good, right?
Right.
So,
Why
uh,
anime or like what?
yeah.
Right.
So Hoseki no Kuni is just incredibly unique, right?
Right.
Like everything about it, the story, the setting, the characters, the visuals, uh, like everything about it. It's
Mhm.
just like you look at it and you're like, there's nothing out there that's like this. And I think the way it was executed was extremely well done. Um, and I think, uh, for a very long time, I don't think there's going to be anything that in my mind, that in my eyes, stands out as being more unique and more well done
Right.
in recent years. Like I don't think,
Exemplifying why we watch anime. Specifically.
yeah, I think Hoseki no Kuni to me is the perfect example of why I continue to watch anime, why I continue to look for series that do something different,
Right.
do something on their like do something to stand out from all the other stuff that comes out every season, right? I'm not trying to say something like, oh, seasonal anime, right? Because everything's seasonal, but
Yeah.
um, it's great to see when shows try to stand out and they succeed. And Hoseki no Kuni not only did it succeed in standing out, it succeeded in being good on
Mhm.
top of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think for a very long time, I don't think anything for a while is going to come out that's going to be like, okay, like this is better than Hoseki no Kuni, right?
Right.
I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's my list.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the list. And that we have our last 4 anime list. Toast.
Hello, it's me.
Well,
Let me preface this by saying 2014 was an odd choice to the
no, it wasn't.
start a year off, because if he just dialed back to 2013 and beyond, we could have. My list would be drastically different.
We'll keep going,
Just
Toast. What's
saying,
number 4?
because
It's not a weird choice, Toast. But keep going.
because if I had my way with this, all 4 of my top slots would be Fate stuff.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But again,
Because
please.
I had to be fair to the other non-Fate series, that to so they could have some sort of chance and up in here. So I'm gonna give my fourth to The King's Avatar, which is not anime, but it counts
It's a
kinda.
Chinese.
It's
It's a Chinese anime
Chinese.
by
Tencent.
Tencent, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Tencent, yes. Okay.
I had a choice of King's Avatar or Spirit Sword Mountain or whatever, which was actually that one's actually made by a Chinese slash Japanese company because they have Japanese names for it. It's like Ken Reizan or something. I don't know. I don't know Japanese. But yeah, I picked King's Avatar because if you didn't know by now, it's King's Avatar is a thinly veiled approximation of what would of DFO, Dungeon Fighter Online, DNF, Dungeon and Fighter,
Yes.
as a Chinese knockoff named called Glory,
Okay.
and it was actually pretty good for a Chinese animation. I don't know. I just it was there's a divide between like how the gameplay elements of the game, which is
Mhm.
pretty I don't know how to describe it like without going into extreme detail, but it's I would say pre-level cap 50 DFO where things were simpler, where you go into a dungeon and there's a lot of dungeoning and gameplay mechanics or whatever. That's
I
one
mean, I would.
part.
Yeah.
And the other part is it actually goes deep into detail of how Chinese esports work, like
Mhm.
to an extent that no other anime goes into it
Okay.
to this degree.
Yeah, I definitely tried to go into a lot of detail.
Like I'm trying to think of one where it goes into esports and how it works, but I'm drawing a blank. There's like gamers where, oh, we're gonna reference these games in here and that other stuff, but that's just the game itself. It doesn't go into uh, esports culture where we have these teams and you're too old to play this game. We're gonna kick you out and we're
Mhm.
gonna this is your account card. It's treated where games are treated more like a business where
Right.
once you're signed to a team, like all your assets that they came with are automatically bought out by the team, and so the team
Okay.
owns you, not the other way around, and all that stuff. That was fun to watch. Big esports
Yeah,
stuff,
definitely exploring a different facet.
teams and players and whatnot. Yeah, so even though it's not actually anime, I have to give it to yeah, King's
The King's
Avatar.
Avatar. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I suggest y'all watch it. Esports.
It's hashtag esports.
My number 3 is what did I write here? PSO2 the animation? No, that can't be it.
What?
Can't be.
How is that possible?
It's no, my number 3 is actually Rakudai Kishi. No, AU10. Hell yeah.
Stop.
Wait, what?
Yeah, isn't it Rakudai Kishi no AU10 or what's the full
Yeah,
title?
it is. No, you're right about it. I was just not expecting that the Rakudai Shino Eiyutan or Rakudai Shino Cavalry, whatever you want to call it. Keep going.
Keep
going.
I like
Sorry.
Rakudai Kishi. It's the better Asterisk War and the better Akashic Records.
Both of those are trash.
I'm trying not to say anything. Okay, I'm trying to let Toast have his.
You know,
say.
you what? Want to fight me with this? This is my list, not yours.
No.
That's
You-
what I said.
You
That's
can't
what I
can't
said.
disagree with
Yeah.
me. It's my word
That's
against
what-
yours.
Literally letting you have your
What
word.
do I
Okay,
like about Rakudai Kishi? First off, that opening's pretty fire. I think.
Yeah.
Did I vote that like best opening of that year? I think I did. No. Unless it competed with Unlimited Blade Works season 2. I don't know.
You probably gave it to Unlimited Playworks if it came.
Yeah. What do I like about it? There's a lot I like about it. I'm trying to like condense this short into sentences that even you guys could understand.
Thanks.
I appreciate
What?
I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for not like fucking speaking the language of the old. All right.
I'll just say, it's like Data Live, but only the good route, which is the Toka route. Pretty much.
Okay. Okay.
Appreciate it.
I guess.
Do you
that's
want me to
pretty
go
good.
into more detail
No, it's fine.
of how
Let's keep
the
it
Toka
clear.
route works and the
Nope.
It's fine.
the dynamic between Iki and Stella? Because that's a good dynamic.
No,
I
I've
like-
read the series.
I
Don't
like
worry
how
about it.
Iki and Stella interacted. They always interact as if they were a couple and whatnot. No harem shenanigans here.
You're not even talking about your top 4 at this point.
I'm talking about Rakudai Kishi. And I like the the sword fights. Those are well animated. Of course, they're not. I'm pretty sure I gave them a mention of how it looked and whatnot.
Mhm.
Story's pretty cool. It's an underdog story where I'm the weakest knight, but I'm going to be the strongest. Because what was his motto? My weakest is my strongest or something.
Yeah, we definitely need more of those in the industry. I think.
Yeah, we
Underdog
need more Rakudai Kishi, definitely. I'd like season 2.
story. I agree with you. Anyways,
Yeah, I like their dynamic and how they grow as a grow their relationship together. It's because I couldn't put in Data Live because Data Live season 1 because that's 2013. So otherwise that would have been my top 1. So that's a shame.
okay.
Rakudai Kishi's good.
Okay.
Number 2.
What's your next?
If you say so.
Dragon Ball Super? No, it can't be Dragon Ball Super.
Did you not write
I
these
wrote
down?
them down, but like I
He
didn't
has
write.
a big dartboard.
I have a really big list. Number 2 is. No, it's not Love Tyrant. Oh, there we go. It's Knights and Magic. Yeah,
This
there
one
we
was
go.
more. Yeah,
I
I
wasn't sure
predicted
if that
this
was
one.
going to be your number 2 or 1, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, Knights and Magic. It's really good. It's the Gundams of Isekai. Some dude, he's like, I'm gonna build. It's the Gundam build fighters of
Yeah, that might be a
Isekai.
little bit more accurate.
Where
Yeah.
the dude's like, I'm gonna build this cool robot, but then he dies. Then he's like, then he gets reincarnated as a little boy in a magic world, and he sees a big robot. So he's like, I'm gonna build a robot of my own. And it's 12 episodes of him building robots. There's this whole plot about a war and whatnot, but that's it's not as important as the actual robot building. That's like really fresh and uplifting. It's got a very positive vibe towards it. It's a good slice of life slash heartwarming anime. Isekai. If you want to put it that way. Alright, it's a boy and his dreams of building a robot.
Yeah, definitely an engaging story. If you're more like, I want to find an isekai MC that thinks about something else. That's not just, oh, I got to live in this world, but definitely he does other stuff. But yeah.
I mean,
Um.
there,
Yeah.
I've watched it again. I've read comments where this is different from the light novel, but let me put it this way: this is one of the very few series where instead of like reading all of the light novel and being caught up to the anime and not and like watching it whatever I want, I actually held back on reading the light novel
Preparation for the anime.
in preparation of the next episode's anime, where I was like, "Whoa, I can't wait to see what happens next." This is one of the very few anime that I've ever done that for. Like another exception would be old stuff like Clannad and Unlimited Blade Works and Fate stuff, where the anticipation towards next week's episode kept me pretty much hyped the entire time I was watching it, like throughout the all 12 episodes, the months of waiting. So it's good. I like it.
Okay.
That's why it's my number 2 spot.
As for your number one.
My number 1 spot is going to have to go to Fate Extra Last Encore.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's some opinions on it, but just keep going.
Just kidding. It's Unlimited Blade Works. Ah! What can I say about Unlimited Blade Works and Fate?
That hasn't been said already.
Like, I since
Five.
it came out, most of my stuff has literally been about Fate. So, do you want me to talk about Fate?
No, it's fine.
Do you want me to
we-
talk about how good
no,
Unlimited Blade Works is? Do you want me to talk about how
no, I
good
mean,
UFO Table is and how
I don't think
since
anybody contests the quality of UBW on
do you
this
mean don't
podcast. So
no, it's called the
really,
quality of Type Moon themselves, Fire. What can I say?
well,
I really like Fate. I really like Unlimited Blade Works. I really like the opening. I really like the ending. I really like the animation. I like the underdog story of Cheryl's path to become a hero. I really like Eimer and her sweet songs. I really
yeah,
like Fate
UBW,
stuff.
UBW definitely brought the entire package together, which was important. It wasn't just like, oh, we
I
hope
mean, but you
Fate's
could say
okay.
the same thing about Fate Zero. I would have put that on the list, but it doesn't count here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know me, you know how much I like Fate.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one from this list on, that's not a movie, it would have to be Unlimited Blade Works.
Yeah,
And
definitely one of the. I guess we could have predicted this would be on your list, but it was definitely. It's not like it's a bad pick or anything like that. But
if I can I give my shout outs to the other Fate series? Because
no, we're gonna
the
have to
ones
move
that
on.
didn't make the list: Fate Apocrypha, Last Encore,
You
Grand
know,
Order, Prisma Ilia.
just for
Wow.
fucking calling out, giving a shout out to Fate Apocrypha.
We gotta move
What's
on.
that
Damn you,
all about?
Gohan. Do you not like Astolfo?
No. Okay, we can't. We
Do you
can't.
I
not
do.
like
discuss
do you
it.
not like Atalanta? Do you not like
Oh.
Achilles? Do you not like the
So,
shout
no,
out
I
to
didn't really like Achilles all that much.
the shout out to Fate Apocrypha is undoubtedly the servants and the variation of servants because we usually got the same one.
The only good part. Yes. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's my top 4.
Okay.
The end.
All right. Thank you, Toast, for your top 4. Very interesting top 4. Although some of them were, I
What
guess, to
what?
be expected from your previous.
You didn't expect Rakudai Kishi the moment I can't believe you did
No,
not
it was
expect
it
that.
was a surprise. But anyways, we're gonna be moving on a little bit more quickly with a little bit more of a brisk pace towards the other series here, or the other awards rather. So here we go. Top 4 worst anime. A lot of these other like categories I didn't really rank at all because it's like I don't know if there's like a really real point to ranking them. Like for best, it's like an actual like I want to see if I can actually rank them. But a lot of these are just like they're just fighting for the garbage pile, right, or stuff like that. So it's like whatever. So yeah, I'm not gonna put them in any particular rank. I'm just gonna go down the list. Top 4 worst anime, and when I think about worst, just a really quick thing, it's about what is like it like offends me. It's not just like badly made. It's like it almost makes me think, oh, are they being lazy? Are they almost being like malicious in doing this sort of stupid stuff? Maliciously lazy? That's what I'm thinking when I think of worst anime. So Recreators is the first one. Recreators obviously infamous for just being made from the Abno Zero team, and then they're just like, oh, fiction comes to real life. But then when they actually invaded the real world and the cast was going on, they just made up all these random isekai rules to control what was happening in the real world, and then all these drama things happened, and then became very incoherent, and then the characters also weren't that good. So it was very overblown, very like terribly done series, and there was so much hype around it, and people were like, "Oh man, what's going on? What's this like deep thing?" Then it wasn't very good at the end. It was trying to reach too far, and it was poorly done. So that's one. Nisekoi is another one. I don't think I need to explain this.
Yeah,
It's
why not?
Nisekoi.
What's wrong with Isekoi?
It represents
I think we
essentially
have multiple podcasts
Is
about
it?
that.
Do you
it
not
represents
like the
re-
ship war that
no,
evolved
no.
that
Let me
originated from this?
it it represents some of the worst instincts slice of life rom-com harem author can have when choosing to make this sort of series, and Nisekoi definitely embodies all of that, and then people just kind of ate it up because um it had the waifus, but fuck the series. Again, this was one of the only series that I tried 3 times to pick it up and then failed each time to continue. Sakura to Reset is my third on the list.
Really?
It was
That's
really
a good-
bad.
That's
Good.
Sagrada Reset to you.
Oh, sorry. Sagrada Reset.
What the heck's
But
a
yeah.
Grotto Reset?
Don't ask.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah. So again, it was pretty hyped up because of the names in it. I believe it was Aoyuki and Sakura Ayane, right? Who are doing the voices and stuff. No, it was Hanazawa Kana who was doing it, and then it was Aoyuki who was the other girl, right? So they were kind of building up upon the names and stuff, but then it ended up. It tried to do this very like, like what do you even like, act for? Who do you act for? What are you motivated by? Stuff like that.
What are you
But
fighting for?
yeah, exactly. But it did a very like tried to bring in like this philosophy thing that I think a lot of especially Western anime community fans just got caught up in. Wow, it brought in philosophy, but it wasn't very good the way it explained the philosophy. And then it kind of tried to blow itself up, and then all the rules in the town about superpowers were really awkward. And it became a very, very poorly done series, only really carried by the fact that it had big name voices. So that's the third one. And the fourth one is one I think a series I'm going to use to encompass a very bad trend that I'm going to explain later, and it's called Owari no Seraph, or Seraph of the End. So Seraph of the End, sort of being like, oh, I'm a vampire hunter, but I have a brother who's also a half brother who's a vampire, and then all this killing and dark stuff occurs, and it's like it tries to sell the whole like dark theme as like, oh, it has value because it's dark, and then there are dark things going on, but then like all of the things that are going on in that series is extremely incoherent. Like it's like when the vampires appear, why the vampires do what they do, why the vampire hunters do what they do, the relationship between the brothers, just everything fucked up. And this is part of the problem, but I think Ori no Seraph definitely embodied it the most. So definitely one of the worst anime of the past 4 years. Dark.
Okay, so mine is probably going to be even more brief.
Yep.
So my number, I guess this is kind of going. Technically, this is going from like least worst to worst, in my opinion. So in fourth, I have Frank's, just because it left like the most sour taste in my mouth out of probably like a lot of things from the last 4 years. Like
In the Frank.
the worst part about it to me is that it had like good parts of it, good episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, why couldn't you have just the whole series like that? Specifically like the breakout episode flashback where like
Yeah, flashback
zero
episodes.
two, yeah, where Hero breaks 02 out of like the facility at first. I'm like, would have been pretty cool if you started at that point, Didn't really need to be a flashback. So, there wasn't anything like. Basically, I couldn't really come up with 4 like really bad offenders, but I think Frank's, to me, first, it's there.
How did it make you
Um,
feel watching it? Did it make you angry? If it made you angry, it makes it the worst.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it pissed me off pretty bad by the time I was I was
There you
pretty
go.
upset.
Mhm.
Another one that made me really angry at the end of it was Kumamiko, which is number 3.
Ah,
You should ask
Um,
Meiji and Barrel about that.
dude, like, listen, I've been surfing Reddit, all right? I've been surfing Reddit. I got Reddit Gold, all right? I'm looking, seen some comments. They told me all about it. Bad time. But no, Kumamiko, like, looking back, we all should have known,
The
like,
problem was a
halfway
lot of
through
the
the
problem
series.
was outside of the series. Like, you know what I
Was
mean?
it? Was it? Because it was pretty bad inside the series.
Yeah.
Episodes, like, in hindsight, the entire thing is pretty fucking bad.
Mhm.
So like while you're watching it, you thought, okay, so you're getting like these moments of like, the main character has like anxiety, falls apart, makes a little bit of progress. Not that much, but there's like glimpses here and there. You think by the end of it you're gonna get a payoff, and then you just don't. They're like, no, there's no payoff. Get fucked. Like, go somewhere else. I'm like, okay, I will.
Right.
Guess I'll watch something else then. And in hindsight, you start to kind of realize like there really wasn't much progress. You thought it was building towards progress, and you thought that the episode like sort of back and forth was going to be like, oh, situation happens. At first, everything like kind of falls apart, and then she deals with it. Doesn't actually really happen like that.
Right.
So really, I was like looking back at it, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck we expected. But still, I don't think anyone expected exactly what happened. And that was a complete shit show. So that's why I'm going to put that at 3, because I guess there was like 11 episodes that I didn't want to die watching. And then number two, Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. I fucking hate this series. I watched the entire thing because I thought that we were gonna have something good here. Season 1 was pretty all right, pretty cool. It has cool mechs throughout. It still has cool mechs. I was like, all right, that's pretty compelling story. You have characters, you have some tragedy, you have like a full story here. Then season 2 happened, and I guess Akadami was like, what if we killed the entire cast, every single episode, with the most blatant death flags ever? Like, an episode would end, and I'm like, I guess this character is dying next week. They would literally just raise death flags, and you'd be like, this time for sure, it's not real.
so
This time for sure, that character's not.
So it's like the Game of Thrones of Gundam.
No, it's even worse. Like, Game of Thrones, like, characters die, from what I understand, but there's not huge death flags. In fact, a lot of it is surprise. Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, like, 1 week, like, what's his name? Orgo will be like, I'll never die until we get there, guys. Trust me. And then the preview may as well have been him bleeding on the ground.
Nice.
It's just like, it just sucks. Like, and that would happen. Yeah. I was like, oh my god. So that series was real bad by the end of it. And the romance part of it was a fucking complete mess too. That's a whole nother thing. And then my number 1 was Prison School for obvious reasons.
I was
We really don't need.
Yeah, I was gonna add in Prison School, but then I was like, maybe I'm hating on this too much. But then you added it for me.
It's not that fucking like
Yeah.
whatever.
But it's just supposed to be dirty humor, dark.
Yeah,
It's
wow. It's like the kind of dirty humor that like
Isn't it actually humorous?
a fucking Spurg tries to say too loud at a lunch table in high school.
Yeah.
And you're
Even
like,
middle school.
you could
Just
like not do this.
yeah. Uh, okay. So pretty good. There we have the list, and then Coast. You
Me
want to
again,
go
really?
second, third? What do you mean you went last time? What do you mean you
What?
again? There
What are you
only 12
talking about
people.
last? You skipped near.
Yeah.
No, no,
Let Nier go.
I said last, but I actually like after I said that I was like didn't mean it. But
Yeah, Nier.
Wow.
Yeah,
yeah,
Nier, you
What?
want to go?
What?
You want to go for?
I don't know what you mean by me again, Toast. You're gonna be. There's multiple lists.
But I want to go last.
all right,
Yeah,
just
that's what
here
he
go. Here go.
Same order each time.
Yeah.
All
Don't
right.
don't mix it up.
Um.
Some
So-
people don't like mixing up their spaghetti before they eat it.
So my criteria for worst was pretty similar to Spire's. Pretty much just stuff that like
It's almost
upset me.
offensive, yeah.
You know, really ticked me off, really grinds my gears. You know.
Those are
So-
Jimmy's.
Yeah, my number 4 is ReZero. Uh,
Okay.
No comment.
the show
Not
Which-
recreators. Not
No.
real life.
I didn't really real life wasn't that bad, but
Yeah, real life wasn't that bad.
ReZero was bad. It was garbage.
No, but it gets better when you have volume 5. When you have volume 5, it gets better.
The part that's not adapted.
Stop.
Yeah, the show was just bad. Like you have a series where you prop a character up as the main love interest, and then you push her to the side so the main character can interact with this other girl for a good like 7 episodes.
The main girl becomes it's a side character. Becomes a main character later. Excuse me.
Yeah, and then the main character goes like, "Oh no, but you know, I like this other girl. I like this main girl instead. You know, forget the character I've spent majority of the series with so far. Just yeah, whatever. Screw this show. I hate this show.
It's like Fuka, except instead of Fuka
Nah.
dying, she comes back in the end. I'm like, oh wait, no, that's my list. Nier, keep going.
Keep going here.
My number 3 is Berserk 2016.
Yay!
Biggest yikes. You have a much better list than I do. I'm gonna be real honest here.
I don't think I really need to comment too much on this.
You have
But
so much of a
but
better
Nier,
list than
don't
I
you
do.
like the clang sounds and the awkward like jarring
beat?
animation?
I'm not gonna lie.
The corpse just like plop.
I kind of didn't mind the clang sounds by the end of it, but yeah, Berserk 2016 was just a
You don't
real slap in the face to anybody who likes Berserk, and even people who don't like Berserk. Like it's just kind of a slap in the face to anybody who watches anime. Really, just atrocious, absolutely awful. My
If
number
you
2,
if you want to do a
is,
better like 3D anime, Nier did mention Hoseki no Kuni, and like
yeah, I mean Hoseki no Kuni definitely set the standard for CG, but
heck, you could even throw Komodo Friends in there.
I don't know about that. But the number 2 is Charlotte
Ah,
from PA Works.
I would pick Rewrite.
The infamous return of Jun Maeda, the man, the myth, the legend. It wasn't good. It was very disappointing. And it really upset me when people were like,
It retroactively makes Angel
It's
Beats
better.
bad.
It's better than
retroactively
Angel
made
Beats.
Angel Beats worse.
Ah,
I actually really like Angel Beats, so I wasn't too
Angel
fond
Beats is
of that.
good.
Yeah, it's
But it
pretty
became
good.
worse because of Charlotte.
Yeah, somehow. I don't know how. I don't know the physics behind that, but you know,
Dude,
It took a
easy math.
DeLorean. It took
Yeah.
a
Easy
DeLorean.
math.
and just
really ticked me off.
like-
And my number 1 is Glass Lab.
don't mention that series. Don't mention that.
What's glass lip? For those who
You
don't
just-
know, I've
just
never
fucking
heard of this
triggered me.
abomination.
You just
I don't
fucking
really.
triggered me so hard. I'm going to like restart this podcast. That's how triggered me.
You're gonna
I don't
re-zero
really-
this podcast.
I was gonna include that in my top 4 worst, but then I was like, maybe I'm hating on this too much. It was like the same thing over again. I was
No,
like,
you're
maybe
not.
I'm like, is it too much? Yeah,
Glass
he's like
Lip
Genji, man.
was absolutely Just
so bad.
so bad. Like
Bad.
from start to finish, just awful. And the worst
Nishimura
part
Junji,
is,
please.
I was really excited for Glass Lab. I was like,
Yeah, I was too.
whoa, like this is gonna be good, right? It's
It
got
was-
good names.
P works, yeah.
It's
Well,
got
no, okay. So the one worry I had was, and I actually said this before Glass Slips was airing or started to air, was that Nishimura Junji was director who ruined Dog Days. So it's like
Yeah,
Dog Days
ruined.
season 1 was like kind of whatever, but then Dog Days 2 and Dog Days 3 were like legit. They weren't even like bad, like like you're just watching this degenerate series. Oh, that sucks. Like even that I could take it, but no, he turned it into a boring series. And I was like, how do you do this? Like, how do you do this to this series? So I was kind of afraid, but it was still PA work. So I was like, I'm willing to give this a chance. Nishimura Junji, man.
yeah. I didn't watch Dog Days, so I didn't have that experience in my brain. So yeah, I was really excited for Glass Lab. It was a PA Works series. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good, right? Because back then, like PA Works was like, oh man, it's got to be good, right?
Yeah. Oh my god.
And the show was just awful. There's like nothing good about it. Just I hate this show.
Yeah, Nishimura Junji fucking up again. Anyways,
That's my
giving
list.
PTSD. Near's list is so much better than mine. Actually, it's embarrassing. Toast.
Let me preface this by saying that all my 4 series are not necessarily bad series.
Just disappointing.
Just disappointed with the fact that it made me angry watching them, and I'm pretty sure I've blocked out many of these.
Toast going full Asian mom. Anyways, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is I.
Toast. Are we going to do this for every series? Come on.
I mean, I have it there. It's just I'm getting kind of upset just thinking about it again.
Okay,
That's the
okay.
kind of thing.
That's okay.
I mean, it's number 4 is I don't know how is the
you need a little bit
Yahari
of
Ori no Seishun Love
it's
Comedy wa
Staffer. Yeah, just say love
Machigateru
Staffer. Yeah.
Snafu
Oregairu. Oregairu
Origairu
is
Snafu
yeah.
because I don't like the main character.
I didn't.
Hachiman is a
Hated
jerk.
him.
He's a
Hated us.
nihilistic jerk. He's like, oh, I hate everything. And I know he's supposed to be a Tsukikomi to the other characters, but like, he sucks. I really don't
Yeah,
like him.
he's not a good character either. Yeah,
Shoutouts to like Takuya Eguchi, who did a better role in what is it, Ori Monogatari.
he
That's
did a lot of good roles. Takagachi is pretty good.
the characters except Kikigat or Hachiman. They're fine, but I really didn't like him and how he worked with them. I keep comparing it to something better that had a really bad ending as well, which is man. Now why can't I remember the name of it? Spire. It's the one where the end or it's with Sena
What?
where
Huh? What is it?
the other series that I keep comparing it to.
Don't.
Boku wa Tamagotchi ga Sukanai. Haganai. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Oh,
I keep comparing it to Haganai, and I'm like, I like Haganai way better, cause
I don't know why.
they have a better dynamic there. But yeah,
Honestly,
I'd rather just watch Haganai a million times more, even with the really bad ending that of the light novel that I was looking forward to. Hey, how's Sena gonna work with what's his face?
I
Kodaka.
forgot.
I-
Yeah, Kodaka. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
and I'm like, but then the ending was really bad, and I'm like, oh, nothing happened. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Just
Anyway, that's
Yeah.
my number 4. Overrated.
number 3?
Worst. Number 3. Let me bring
Sure.
it up again.
Bring it up again. Travis.
Okay, I'm gonna preface this by saying my these 3 can go in any order. Like,
Yeah, just
but I'm gonna go with Isekai wa No. This one's just bad. Isekai wa smartphone to Tony.
Yeah, in another
Yeah,
world with a smartphone.
sucks.
Yeah.
This is the worst isekai I've ever watched ever.
Well, the problem with smartphone is that it became very, very boring. That's the
Exactly.
biggest
That's
part
why
there.
it got really boring. It's the point
Yeah.
of going to isekai is you die here, and you shouldn't have any attachment to this to your previous world. But then this guy comes in like, oh, I have this smartphone, and I'm gonna solve my problems using modern technology, and I'm like, that's really lame. Like, I'm gonna take we're gonna I don't know how to write these letters, but I'm just gonna take a picture. And they're like, "Oh, what is this magical device?" And I'm gonna surf the internet. And have you guys heard of iced cream? It's like
Yeah,
he's
it's
pretty.
kind of obnoxious how the power fantasy works.
He's like a reverse Kirito, where instead of being a loner, he's got a harem and he wears white. And I don't like him.
Yeah, but if everyone hates Kirito, doesn't that mean he's really cool?
Really makes you think.
The characters in Isekai Smartphone are kind of one note too. You got the twins, then you got the chick, then some sword lady, and I'm like, okay, I don't really care for any one of these characters. They're not very interesting in their own light. They're all too amazed about his dumb smartphone, where he surfs the internet. It's okay though. God said he could surf the internet, but he can't interact. It's like so that's his trade-off, and I'm like, that's a really stupid trade-off. You could do better isekai series with modern stuff like the one where the dude he comes in there and then he's like, "Oh, my magic ability is I can order foodstuffs online." Then he
Oh yeah,
befriends a Fenrir and is like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Horo Meshi or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's or you could do the other one where he's like, or the other really bad one that I dislike where the chick's like, I'm falling off this cliff," but then suddenly God comes in and saves me, and then I can teleport to the isekai. But whenever I want to, I can teleport out of the isekai and back into my own home. So
Mm.
it doesn't really count as an isekai anyway because she's just teleporting between worlds, Alice to Wonderland / Inuyasha style, and it really takes away the point of putting isekai in the world in the name.
Yeah.
It's something like to live peacefully in this world. I'll gather up 100,000 gold or something. You know the one I'm talking
Yeah.
about, Spider.
There are
I hate
definitely
that one.
a lot of there are definitely a lot of series that sort of try to fall down this path.
It's just my point is, if you're going to do isekai, please focus more on the isekai stuff, and
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that could
there has to be
mess up stuff.
some line between having like this modern knowledge and equipment
Hmm.
that you can take out or you have, but you cannot. I don't know. I just don't like the series. Whatever. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, what was my
Okay,
next one?
next.
My next one is a very controversial one. That's number two. It is.
It is.
It is. It's not Data Life Season 2. It's Kantai Collection.
Ah, yes.
We did an entire podcast
Our round table. Yes.
about how disappointing this anime is. Not because it's com- completely bad all the way through. It's just it flip
It tried
flops
to.
between really good episodes, slice of life, interaction with these characters, building them up, and really bad drama
Yeah,
episodes.
it tried to it tried to have you too much, and it failed.
I really
Yeah.
don't want to go
Yeah.
into how it's.
Very unfortunate.
It's not the worst series ever, but it doesn't know where it's going, and it made me
Yeah,
really
yeah,
angry because I was really looking forward to this one.
yeah. Very, very unfortunate. Okay.
And my last
And
one is it is another controversial one. It is Fate Extra Last Encore.
okay.
I'm going to put that as my number one.
Is it really that controversial?
Yes.
Yeah,
It had all the good makings of a good Fate anime. Shaft. Is Akiyuki Shinbo? Akiyuki Shinbo.
Yeah, it was Shimbo.
Freaking Shaft did stuff for Fate Extra already with CC. So it was looking good. But it was really like I've watched it maybe 6, 7 times all the way through again. And every time I'm just really upset watching the first 8 episodes.
Maybe you should not watch it another time.
Maybe you should stop watching it. Like, don't watch it again, dude.
Male
Are you
Hakuno,
okay?
Male Hakuno Ghostface / Avenger Hakuno is a really boring one-note character that has really bad interaction with Saber, who's like the complete opposite. And she's really, whenever she's on the screen, it's a delight. And whenever I see Hakuno, I'm like, eh. Saber's like, yeah, cool, Saber, doing cool stuff, because she's a really fun and interesting character. She's basically female Alexander, as written by Kanuko Nasu, because Nasu was upset that, hey, that Gen Urobuchi made a really good character with Iskander, so he's like, I'm gonna do that too, jerk. And he did.
Yeah.
And that's freaking Red Saber. She's a delight to watch, and dialogue's all on point, and her expressions, mannerisms, whatever, it's all good.
Mm.
Then you got really boring in the Franks. Male Hakuno over here, we're like, I don't know who I am. I'm just an Avenger. I'm here with a hatred. He's like Shiro dialed all the way up to 100 if he lived with his survivor's guilt all the time, and he wasn't very interesting. Shiro is a complex character who's got his ups and downs. He's got survivor's guilt, but he's not a complete edgelord like male Hakuno.
Yeah.
This is the
Sure.
first 8 episodes. They put throwbacks to the previous characters in Fate Extra, like Shinji, the old dude, Alice, whatever. They're there for like one episode, but their roles are hollow and vacant at best. They're probably there for just fan service or whatever. You could take them completely out, replace them with someone else, no one would care.
Mm.
It's a slap in the face for people like me who played Fate Extra and have all this character development, and hey, I know this character and their motivation, and then they come back as like a cyber ghost and are like, oh, I'm angry. It really throws their character development out the window and just makes them angry ghosts, just like Mel Hakuno.
Yeah,
And then
it was very.
This is just the first 8 episodes. It only gets good the last 2 episodes because guess what? Female Hakuno shows up from her memories, and it's like, oh my god! It's like, oh
All right,
thank
can we
God.
not do a synopsis of the entire
good.
season, please? All right.
It took 8 episodes for it to get good, like really, really good. And I'm like, this is the stuff I really wanted. This is my my last encore, and it took that long to get there. I could keep going on and on.
Please don't.
But yeah, this is why it's on my number one.
Yeah,
I want to like it. I have to rate it maybe second from the bottom of the best Fate series.
Second from the bottom of the best Fate series.
If I had to rate all the Fate series from top to bottom, it's second from the bottom.
Okay. Well, again, very unfortunate, but thank you for your top 4, and we're going to move on to.
That's what you mean worst for.
Our worst
Yes, the
4.
top
yeah,
4.
Top 4 worst. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, we're going to move on to top 4 most overrated anime. And
I think I
this
just
one,
seed. Hold on. Did I?
Did you?
I think I did. Yeah, I went to 0 real quick. What the hell?
Yeah, we're back. It looks like we're still on.
Okay, continue. Go.
Okay. So we're gonna try to make this again brief. Again, no real ranking for me here, but a lot of these
What series are you talking about, or what? What's the next one?
overrated. So first off, obviously, One Punch Man. One Punch Man, very just again. It started out okay. It was like it told after story, which was good value, right? Because very few people tell like after story kind of stuff. But then it became like a PowerPoint, right? And it's just very, very tiring to go through that sort of like DBZ, like, we're gonna wait 1 million years for the action sequences. So it wasn't very good that it became this sort of PowerPoint. It exemplified itself in the manga and it carried itself out in the anime where it's very, very slow. But then everybody was like, One Punch Man, it's like a parody. I'm like, I don't think you guys really know what you're talking about. Shokugeki no Soma, again, another big thing where it's like, oh
You just
man,
hate popular things, Spire.
well, that's part of being
That's
overrated, right?
part of it.
Do you not like fun?
Yeah, I just hate fun. Sorry, guys.
Do you hate food?
Yeah. Shokugeki no Soma, again, I respect it as a sports series, but the way some people are like, and like there's an explosion of these like YouTube videos where people are just trying to make Shokugeki no Soma stuff. And like the author is encouraging this behavior too by putting like recipes at the end of it. I'm like, don't do this. They're not good food. This is not how cuisine works.
Spire,
Stop
do you
doing
not
this.
do you not like squid tentacles in peanut
I
butter?
don't like it when random like potato is like wrapped with bacon and then it's like what was it? It was like a stuffed potato wrapped with bacon and then there's some other garbage inside the potato or something like that. Like it was so
It was
bad.
bacon. It was cheese and potato wrapped in bacon, and it was called
Oh
a
my-
pork roast.
Oh my god. It
Is bacon even pork? That's bacon.
was... But anyways, that was is for creating this sort of like craze with retard anime recipes. Gotta give one to Shokugeki no Soma.
Okay.
Another one is ReZero. So many people just it's so deep, and then it's not your MC. The MC goes through this suffering and blah blah blah. Again, I respect the puzzle solving ReZero. I think that was very very unique. I liked it, but the idea was that it's the way it went through like the suffering and like the way the other characters in the cast went through this decision making was very very poorly done. Was very poorly, and not only just like the plot, but the rom-com, and even the author herself admitted it. It's like Amelia isn't really have much going for her, but she's my favorite character. Like stuff like that. It's just very, you can see that the author has like poor decision making himself, but like the characters in it are not very smart and they do throughout the plots. That gets one from me. And the last, definitely not least, one of the top four most overrated anime of the last 4 years, Pop Team Epic.
But I like Pop Team
So-
Epic.
So much, as I said, one of the most overrated animes of the last 4 years. Just so much. Again, the idea is for it to be a funny series. If you want to make this sort of weird, surreal, whatever, go sell it in a museum. Don't tell me it's a comedy series. Just be like, like just random WarioWare levels of hectic, random memes.
You just don't get it, Spire.
Stuff. Yeah, I just don't get it. Sorry. It's just like, can you not like memes just like every 5 seconds? I'm just like, whatever, dude.
No.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then it just became an overnight sensation because Pop Team Epic memes are very easy to post on Twitter.
It's
So,
it's
yeah.
the Chen Honk thing. It's the same. How do you pronounce it? BK Bob?
I don't know, dude.
BK is that dude. He already had memes before this, but Pop Team Epic just made him even more memeier.
Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time I saw the whole like, oh yeah, I understand, and then it's like doesn't get it at all or whatever. If I had a nickel for every time I saw that on Twitter, I'd be fucking
I was just about to post that image actually, Spire.
yeah. But anyways, dark. Top four most overrated.
Okay. Well, let's see. My number. This is also in no particular order because, like,
They're
I
all
don't really
bad.
care. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't also choose like bad per se.
Huh?
I just chose like what I purely thought was not as good as it's made out to be. So my number 4 is also ReZero for pretty much the same reasons that have been stated. I wouldn't say like ReZero wasn't in my worst, but after watching like 2 episodes and then hearing the nightmares of it, I was like, well, guess I'm not watching the rest. And then I sort of just gained an understanding through an osmosis of pain. And yet people still had high praise for it. after everything I heard, everything I know about the series, I don't understand quite why. Well, I understand why, but I never really get why people latch on to what they do with some of these things.
Yeah.
My number 3 is also One Punch Man, just because it's like the anime. Like, first of all, I don't think the premise was ever that interesting, but also like the anime audio visuals fall apart. So like, really, what else is there at that point?
Yeah.
Um, especially when, I mean, now Mob Psycho retroactively, One Punch Man even worse. When you think about it, so I would say that was fair for not being the most overrated. It's pretty up there.
Did it just go up
Um,
again? Hold on.
my number 2, I put as Umaru,
Yes, I want to
also
put that
for
as
obvious
well.
reasons, because it's like, dude, listen, I watched season 1. Season 1, it's like it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
It repeats. It repeats.
It's not. It's strange. Like it didn't even attempt to do what it would have been good at, which would have been just kind of like straight slice of life.
Yeah.
If you knew what we had said about Chio-chan, then I would say like Umaru is essentially like if Chio-chan didn't have as much slice of life parts as it did. Because it has like a decent setup for a slice of life with characters and the cast, and even the game stuff could work, but they try and just, I guess, focus on the games, but without really saying anything about them. They just like kind of rapid fire shoot them off, like, "Hey guys, fighting games? Well, we
Yeah.
got 'em."
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
But not like
hey,
a real one though. We don't have a real fighting game. That would cost like a lot of money.
You said your previous one was One Punch Man, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And then my number 1 is also going to be Recreators. I didn't want to put Recreators as the worst because I don't think Recreators is probably one of the worst in the last 4 years. I'd watched, want to say like 19 episodes of it before I eventually gave up because
That's a lot.
there's like a 6 episode like chunk where Meteora is literally just like talking.
No, she has to
And just
talk about the world's end, dude.
yeah, she's just spouting off shit about like nonsense that doesn't even make any sense. And honestly, if you take any of that in a different context, like she just sounds like a psychopath, and everyone just completely agrees with her anyway. So yeah, I would say like people thought it was really cool, and I was like, what is the reason? And I guess the reason is just for like the visuals were nice, but people also said the audio visuals, and I'm pretty sure that show has like one song, and it's the opening. So it's a good opening, but I wouldn't really say that that's good audio. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that series. I wouldn't say like it was the worst thing I've seen, but
Yeah, it's
certainly,
definitely much worse than people took it for.
yeah, it's not really worth much praise past like audio visuals and like maybe I would say
Maybe
I would
the
honestly
starting
say like
premise. Maybe the
yeah,
starting
the
premise.
premise is fine. I'd say the premise is fine. The character designs are fine to cool for Altair, but like I don't think really any of the other characters are all that cool.
Yeah, a lot of them were
Damn
like
shame.
very. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
very like.
especially since like they build it up. They're like, oh, Altair's like the villain. You don't see her for like 10 episodes, so
Very
it's not great.
unfortunate.
You
Yeah.
barely see her for like 10 minutes, like in total. Like she's whatever.
Okay. So, Nier, top 4 overrated, please.
I'm gonna be pretty succinct with mine. Because I feel like we're gonna start treading familiar ground. Number 4 for me is Flip Flappers.
Yeah.
I picked this show because
Dude, it has the best animations.
It has such good animation.
yeah, when this show came out, people were like, "Oh my god, the animation's so good," because and like what was it, the second episode was the desert one?
No, that was episode 3.
Okay, the third episode. There's a pretty good fight scene, and there's one scene where there's a whopping 3 frames of black and white animation. Whoa. But yeah, people were like, "Oh my god, this show looks so good," and it really didn't. It had a decent art style. It had some decent environmental art. But in motion, it wasn't anything too uh it really wasn't really anything to like talk about, really. It was
Yeah, it
just
wasn't. The issue was it's like it had the world, but then like they were like, should we make it episodic? But then there's this like Yuri going on, right? And then there's some solution. So they were very confused as to what sort of pace they should develop in Flip Floppers.
yeah, and don't even get me started to when they like tried to actually like start explaining what exactly is happening in the series, which by the way, pro tip, if you have a series that's set up like Flip Flappers, never explain anything
Yeah, just
because that's
go.
the magic of the series. Is
Yeah.
that it's like fantastical. Like it's unexplained. It's mysterious. Like you don't try to go in and be like, by the way, here's some time shenanigans where I was actually like your mom from a distant future from a parallel universe this whole time and your grandmother's been a robot. It's like,
Mhm.
what? Stop.
Yeah.
Flip Flappers wasn't great. And a lot of people talked it up and it sucked.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Kobayashi-san.
That's some
Yeah.
fighting words.
I mean,
No,
I've
the anime is pretty.
expressed
Not in this, or
I've
not
expressed
in.
my opinions
Yeah.
on A Dragon quite a few times, I think. The source material is good. I'm not gonna
But the
say
anime is like a holdover for JC staff,
I'm not
or
going
rather, sorry,
to
John.
I'm not gonna say that I mean it's funny you say it, but I'm not gonna say like, that this show is bad or anything, right? It's a good show.
Yeah.
But it's not a Kiyoani show. There's nothing special about this adaptation at all.
Yeah.
I've said it before, I'll say it a million times.
Mhm.
Any studio could have done this in the exact same quality. JC's staff could have done this and it would have looked the same. Fucking Silverlink could have done this and it would have looked pretty much the same. There's nothing in Kobayashi that's like, this is a Kiyoani show.
He's
And
got a point.
And to me, that speaks as it's purely average, right?
Right.
It is an average adaptation, and it's decent source material, right? Decent to good, right?
Right.
Um, and people talked it up like they usually do with Kiwani shows, and I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see anything special there. There's really nothing there that warrants to be like, yo, Kiwani, making Yuri Dragon stuff. It's like, well, anybody could have made this. It would have been the same. Like, there's nothing Kiwani about it.
If you want
Yeah.
KyoAni, you look at their previous works like Phantom World and Clannad and even freaking
And
Haruhi.
Phantom World.
I don't know.
That has that KyoAni
Yes,
polish to
Phantom
it.
World is more Kiwani than Kobayashi. My number 2 is Yuri on Ice.
Mm.
You don't like the Yuris?
I thought Yuri on Ice started out pretty decent. It was a pretty alright sports anime. I'm not too keen on like the mild homoeroticism in the show. But it dealt with the sports aspect pretty fine.
Yeah.
But then as the series went on, it
It
kind of
started
just
not doing that.
it kind of just dropped the sports and like focused purely on
You gotta
the-
feel the love on the ice.
it kind of just focused purely on the boys and the audio visual quality dipped quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's some pretty comedic frames out there where like Yuri's got this weird dwarf hand with 3 fingers and not a series that I think deserved multiple like best anime of the year awards from multiple like official.
Crunchyroll Awards.
Yeah, Crunchyroll gave it multiple awards when it came out. I don't think it deserved any of that.
Because it's about the boys.
my
It's all the gay shows. And
and
number one
my
is
number one is, believe it or not, One Punch Man.
also dude. It's secretly gay between the apprentice and the Saitama dude.
Yeah, really. Um, there's not really much to say about One Punch Man that hasn't been said already.
Yeah.
What I will say is I'm really looking forward to seeing how people react to season 2, which is done by JC Staff. I'm very excited to see how people react to One Punch Man when it's no longer all about the visuals. That's all I'll say.
And takes place over the course of 37 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So Toast.
Hello, it's me. My list. I'm going to. My number 4 is going to Erumanga Sensei. Yeah. I don't like Erumanga Sensei that much.
Okay.
Erumanga Sensei is the dude who made Oremo, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And I don't find anything really noteworthy about this series. It's about some dude who likes writing light novels and whatever. And then, but his little sister's actually better than him in light novels. And I'm like, okay, so if they wanted to catch the struggles of being a like a writer and how hard it is in the industry, let me just point you towards a similar yet way better series called Sucker So, where this is basically almost the same premise, but has better characters and a better
there are a
storyline.
bunch of other series that come out there. Definitely. Animecast since it was never about the writing stuff.
It was just about, hey, you guys like little girls, right? She's 12. And I'm like, no thanks.
That was a pretty good place.
She's not even 112. She's straight up 12 and whatever. And then Elf Yamada's all right though. The elf chick, she's 14. She's more interesting and funnier.
Okay.
But yeah, people who like Erumanga Sensei are kind of weird. No thanks. You can't come to my birthday party, kind of thing.
Okay. 3.
What did I put down? Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Danmachi. Yeah.
Danmachi.
Mm-hmm.
You're overdosing on this. Your Sao Kirito's here. It's like you take Sao, but you mix in a little bit of Log Horizon, but it's not really.
What I would say the biggest problem was that literally his power was like the shittiest. Like where it was like his power is literally just growth, and it's like so boring. Like come on.
His power is the underdog later on. It's like that's cool.
But yeah,
people are treating it like, oh, this is the best isekai ever, and I'm like, no, it's not even isekai. I would even go to say that Sao is better than Danmachi.
Okay. So number 2.
What else do you want me to say about Danmachi? Whatever.
Yeah, I mean Danmachi, like I think it's very, very overrated to its whole like growth.
I'm gonna give it. My number 2 is Umaru. Do you know how many times I've seen people with Umaru like, oh, that's so me.
I mean, it became a literal meme on this podcast for a reason.
It's not. Yeah. You're not. It's Umaru's a thing where I am a perfect high school girl or whatever, but at home I'm lazy and play games. Guess what? Everyone's kind of like that on the internet. Talk to anyone on the internet where like, oh, you have this separate personality where you separate your work and your play life. Guess what? That's called adulthood. You're not gonna play games with people in your office unless you're like really, really friends with them. And even then, so what? I'm trying to compare like what other comedy series was shown around the same time as Umaru.
Well, I mean, there are probably a couple, but again, Umaru is very
There were none. There were definitely none that tread the same
not at the
fortune.
same time.
No, not at the
Yeah,
same. Because, like I
but
said, I would say the closest thing now, Chio-chan.
yeah,
Sure.
definitely. It's only really like one or so a season for
It's.
that sort of.
I mean, is it relatable? Sure, but that's because it's relatable to everyone.
Yeah,
What's your
it's very
point?
very general, very different.
And my last one is going to be because I'm not gonna be the same guy pick for you zero like everyone else, but I will throw that out there. It's going to be a Kamega kill.
Yes, yes. Comic,
Kamega
everybody
kill.
need that.
What do I say about this? It's supposed to be dark fantasy edgelord where I'm on this revenge quest towards the Empire and whatnot. Sure, it's fine, but don't treat this like it's the next Attack on Titan. Oh, this is so edgy. I totally
Yeah,
get this. This is the dark, gritty fantasy anime that we've been waiting for. No, it's not.
yeah.
Even is it just
It's the issue is it suffers from a case of rocks fall, everybody dies, but the author can't have everybody die, like literally, because the plot will be fucked. But he only has everybody but the important characters die.
I mean, this is not the next Elfen Lied. This is not the next Attack on Titan or Gantz or Darker Than Black or like Umineka where everything's dark and whatever.
Yeah, it's not. It's
This
not
is not
really.
this is not another, you know. This
Yeah.
is not Psychopaths. Like
Yes, it is none of those
this is
things.
not the new generation Helsing where I'm going to get revenge on the Empire and whatever. I didn't like source aside. The anime ending was actually really bad compared to the manga ending.
Yeah, I mean they had to truncate and create like an ending for the anime, so it was pretty noted at the time that it was pretty fucked up.
But yeah, no, it's not the edgy anime that you're looking for. Go back to Helsing or Vampire Hunter. Is it Vampire Hunter D? Yeah, Vampire Hunter
Yeah.
D, not Blood, not Blood C
Yeah, it
or
was
another. Watch better
very
anime, weirdos. Okay,
very performed. But
that's my
again,
top
thank
one.
you for your top four series. And on the flip side of that, we're going to quickly moving on to our most underrated anime. So for underrated anime, I again in no real order. Um, One is Demi-chan wa Kataritai, or Interviews with Monster Girl.
Hmm,
So I
good
do
pick.
think that this got a bit of a cheer, but definitely not as much of a cheer as I think it felt, especially after sort of this trend of like Monster Musume, because it was always compared to that kind of stuff. But the issue was in both positive, like it was compared in both the positive aspect and negative aspect, and quote unquote lost to both. It's like, oh, it's not it's not as wonky and it doesn't focus, which it actually did. Um, it does focus on monster girls, but it just does them in a very again interview like, what do you want? How do you deal with monster girl problems instead of like the MCN cast getting into random hijinks? Like, oh, what are these sort of like everyday life problems a monster girl would have?
With some sort of a human-esque moments, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
It's better
and
than
interact.
Centaur's worries where it's everything just thrown out there.
Yeah, and then that, and again the negative aspect, like, oh, isn't this just Monster Girl fan service? Oh no, again, Monster Girl, Demi-chan Wakatataka definitely had its fan service moments. Well, for the most part, it stayed pretty clean of it, and again, it's more on the girls were going through, how they interacted with each other, as well as it was a very good series overall, and I think more people should look into it and not just be comparing it to Monster Musume. Next, Dinan Kokochiki Boebu Love. or cute Earth High Defense Force love. And again, it's a very flamboyant sort of show featuring like five guys and just like them just take care of these problems in a very sort of like not like Sentai, but like in a very like magical girl type. But all the humor is very much modeled after sort of this dialogue heavy, absurdist humor based after Daishokusei no Nichijou, or Daily Lives of High School Boys. It's a very much sort of like spiritual answer of that. And I think because of that, because of the whole like flamboyance, a lot of people kind of overlooked it. But I think if you do like that sort of humor, that sort of dialogue humor that Daishokusei no Nichijou does, so on, I think you should definitely check it out. The next is also a short, Inugami-san to Nekoyama-san. So it was very brief, and a lot of it was very like, whimsical, just like girls just bouncing off each other and them having like animal traits and stuff like that, and just making jokes having animal traits. But it was very endearing, short, and very sort of got out there. It had a lot of big name voice actors, and I think the way it provided its package was very, very solid. People should definitely check it out. Last but not least, Yojo Senki, or Saga of Tanya the Evil. Sorry, I know,
Underrated, really?
What?
Really? That's underrated?
Yeah, because a lot of it sort of got shit on for the artwork and everything else, and it
To
kind
be
of
honest, deserved it.
so I think again the art aside, the actual premise it creates and the way it delivered the character sort of like how the character moves the plot, how the MC sort of says, okay, well, I'm going to have this personality. You, this god, this fake changer is not going to change me. How she interacts through like all these plot points, how she interacts with the other. It's definitely a very unique way to create it, and that's definitely not what I've seen a lot. And I think either by reading the original material or by immersing yourself in the anime, Yojo Senki is definitely a different turn than a lot of series. Definitely, please go check it out, even if the artwork may not be the best.
But Spire, you know that's an isekai, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, Dark. Top 4 underrated anime.
Okay, so this was another situation in which I told Nier, "Oh, I'm not going to put in something," but then I did put it in anyway. I took something else out. So get fucked, loser. Yeah. So for my number, this is in no particular order either, because technically I think my number 4 would be one of my highest. I actually have to look up the English name of this because I'm going to butcher it if I don't.
Do it anyway.
Sakurako-san no Ashimoto niwa shitai
yeah.
ga...
There's a corpse under Sakuraka-san or something.
Yeah. So yeah, boy,
Really?
this
You picked that one?
show, yeah, like how is it? It's underrated, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that many people watch it.
I watched it. I liked it. I didn't think it
Well,
was
yeah,
underrated.
but I don't think that many people I don't think that many people paid attention to it. Like, no one gives a fuck about it.
Apparently, the English name is Beautiful Bones, Sakuraka's Investigation.
Yeah, they really like just adapted the fucking title completely. But yeah, man, like the show was great. It had really
It's
cool
great.
audio visuals, had really good characters, had really nice like setups for the mysteries each episode, had a good background mystery that was consistent throughout too. It had nice like developments of Sakurako, like seeing more and more of her past and learning more about her.
Mhm.
And then there was no season 2. Maybe there will be. I don't know. There's a cliffhanger. But yeah, I don't know.
Very important. Anyway,
Yeah, it's
next.
a damn shame because it was real, real good.
Yeah, it was definitely a better series that season.
My next one I have listed Kono Biji Tsubu.
Kono Bijitsu ga Mondai Aru or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this art club has a problem.
Ah.
Yeah, so I wasn't actually sure if this was an underrated one or not, how many people paid attention to it when it came out, but I didn't see a whole lot about it. And I think it's actually like one of the better rom-coms in the last like 4 years in general.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Well, yeah,
No,
as
first product
in
was.
the sense of like, not so much rom-com, but mixing rom-com and slice of life. I think it did really, really well.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's a whole lot to say about it, really, I guess. Just had good audio visuals, a good cast, and a nice like ability to somehow manage to include not one, but like four female supporting characters that warrant love interests.
Right.
Imagine that.
Literally impossible these days.
Fucking impossible. Did it though. Um, but yeah, I thought their ability to do that was actually really cool. Like I thought the characters played off of each other,
Yeah.
and with their support of like the main was like really good and had some real nice comedic moments just
Mhm.
based on that. Um, and then my next one was fuck. See, I had a toss up here, and that's unfortunate because I still don't know which one I'm about to go with. But I think I'm gonna go with Hakame Tumakochi, just because it's like, man, no one's talking about the show, and honestly, I think it's like one of the coziest shows uh, that I've seen. Like, it's just super cozy, has a really good like a really good soundtrack, has really good audio visuals. Like, I think it uses some really, really good and appropriate sort of like lack of sound.
Mhm.
Like when they don't want music, don't want certain background noises, and they just want to put emphasis on like, I don't know if they're going to like somewhere to eat when they just want to put emphasis on like skillet burning or like pouring like something,
Right.
glasses and whatnot. I think they really got that right for audio. And visuals wise, I think they did really well with, I think the backgrounds look great for one. And then in motion, I think there was just a lot of sort of solid work in general in itself. But then on top of that, when maybe they had to cut, I don't know if it was they had to cut or if it was a budget thing, but as I discussed when we were talking about the show on the podcast, the sort of like storybook style they go with during cuts um, is just really, really nice too. And it's just really good throughout the show. There was never a time in which it seemed odd placed.
Right.
And then my number one, yet still not in any particular order, the last one is Babuki Baranki.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, okay, okay.
Uh, I had to ask Near about this one because I wanted to confirm. I was like, did anyone talk about this?
No, everybody forgot about this, dude.
And he hit me with a solid no. And I was like,
Nobody
yeah, I too really
forgot about
like this show.
it.
No, I didn't forget about it. I
Okay.
don't forget about it because
I
honestly,
think most people forgot about it.
I like just
I did.
under what's it called? Just under
Great show.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's another great example of like just well used CG, just like just a nice style of CG.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't really know what
Yeah,
to say
there's
about it. I
no,
thought the
yeah.
action was nice. I thought the story
It's
was
a
really
very
cool.
solid package. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a whole solid package in a CG show.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
and it just has a really unique story too to it.
Okay. All right. So that's good. And year. You want to take a top four?
Ha 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 ha. Um, I don't know if some of the ones on my show can really be classified as underrated, but kind of just went with things that I feel like, haven't either
Or how
haven't
that's
gotten
meant to. Yeah.
like the praise they deserve or the recognition they deserve or whatever,
This gets to have 10 stars on my anime
Yeah,
list. Or
like
10.
this should have a higher score on Mall.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, and also a bit of like, people haven't really been. Nobody's really like recognized the show really or anything like that. But my number 4 is Sakai Seifuku, Boryaku no Zvezda.
That's why you were making that exclamation. But
Yeah,
yep.
I love this show. This show is fantastic.
Rub
It's
your face all over it.
it's
Yeah,
it's really good.
it's a good ride. It's a good ride.
I'm pretty sure I recommended Dark watch it a few times too. I don't know if he has,
Mhm.
but
What is it called?
Sakai Seifuku, Boryaku no Zvezda, or World Conquest Zvezda plot.
I might have like thought about recommending it to Dark, but it's like it's
Dude, you have
it's not
literally
crazy.
never recommended this to me.
I have a few times.
No, I have not. I thought about it, but I was like, this is a little bit really out of the way. So
It's fantastic. It's a great comedy. Um, it's got a great cast. It's got great visuals. It's got a really unique world. It's just like it's just such a good package, and not very many people talk about it. Granted, it's a 4-year-old show.
right.
But like even when it came out, not very many people were talking about it. It kind of flew under people's radars, and it's great. You should go
Yeah,
watch it. It's
yeah.
it's a little gem.
I think I described it earlier. So yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
My number 3 is Akagami no Shirayuki Hime.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Snow White with the red hair I
Yeah.
think it.
This is a another Bowen show. But this was a show I picked up. I think a good year and a half after it came out. And I was just really impressed by like how much I liked it, right? And it's a shoujo series, so I wasn't really going in with like high hopes.
Right.
But yeah, it's fantastic. It's the standard story of some girl who's like too pretty for her own good, and then she catches the eye of some scumbag prince, and then she runs away and she cuts her hair, and
Yeah.
then she meets the like handsome rogue guy, and she falls in love, and then the prince tracks her down, and then there's the standard shoujo love triangle stuff. But I think it's done really well.
Mhm.
And it's pretty standard shoujo stuff, but I think the way it's done is it's a very well presented, well delivered series, and I would suggest checking it out. My number 2 is Bubuki Bronchi. You know, you might have heard of it, but
Just maybe.
just maybe. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't not put this on underrated because like it's easily, if I had to put it like in rankings,
Mhm.
my number 1, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a meme, but like if I had to put it like as like if I had to state like what is the most underrated series in the past 4 years, I'd definitely say Bubuki Baranki. This show was like really good. It was really good. It had a
Yeah.
really good action. It had enjoyable characters, it had a really interesting world. It had really neat character designs. And it was good. It was a good action show, and it had really, well done CG. It was a really nice CG engine. It's the same engine
Right.
that the recent Fire Emblem games have done their cutscenes in, and those are very good looking cutscenes. And it's just good, and
Mhm.
it doesn't deserve a 6.3 on Ball. Like
Yeah.
it's a good show. Um, And my number one is Wakako Zake.
Ooh.
Uh,
I forgot about that. Fuck.
which a lot of people forgot about, but I've
Uh,
I've never forgotten.
mm, you're a
Never
better man than
forgot
I
that
am.
Zake.
You are a better man than I am.
I've never forgotten this show. This little short is just it's it's just like it's perfect, right? Like
it embodies in a sense like Japanese like simplicity, right? Like it's like one of those like things where it's like, oh, Japan's culturally like there are some like simple like nature like things, right? And one of them is like food, just liking food. So it's like that.
it's just it knows what it wants to do,
And it does
and
it.
it does it in such a perfect way that you're just like, that was great. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, it's like the perfect short. Definitely check it out.
yeah.
It's great. I love it.
It's good. It's good. It's definitely toast
Hello, it's me.
for
Are we still
underrated.
okay? Underrated. I'm gonna my number 4 is going to be Rakudai Kishi. No one talks about this. It's always asterisk war. Rakudai Kishi's better. Family Lambs.
Okay, what's your next one?
My number 3.
I had to go through like an entire like midlife crisis before I like continue. Keep going.
My number 3 is Renai Boku no Hero
Renai
Academia.
Bokun. Yeah, Renai Bokun. Love Time.
Yeah, I like that show.
The issue was the anime itself didn't turn out too well, so that was very unfortunate. But yeah,
It's
number
good
two.
though.
Yeah.
Good character development for a harem anime.
Okay.
It's not really whatever. It's not really harem because he doesn't like any of them. Ah.
Well, I mean, he's okay with one of the main girls.
Well, yeah, he likes Akane, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. She's the best one anyway. This is
That's
number.
okay.
What was this? Number 3. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 2. Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun. I really like that
Mm.
one. It's a comedy series.
Wasn't that pretty popular though?
Is it?
It's
I
really
don't think it
thought it was
was. It needs more recognition.
more recognition. Yeah,
It's
that's okay.
supposed to be a simple shoujo series, but no, it's actually really funny.
Okay.
All the cats are really cool. It's I'm going to say this by saying I have a certain panache when it comes to comedy series. If it doesn't tickle my creative fancy, then it's not really a comedy series.
Mhm.
This is the same reason why I prefer the Danchi Kokosei over Nichijou. Nichijou's just shock and awe humor where we're just gonna throw crazy situations one after the other and shock reactions, and I'm like, okay, I need to be a little more cerebral with my anime. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And
No.
Yeah.
oh, you want me to explain cerebral anime?
Please
No,
don't.
Danchi
no, 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 no,
Kokosei,
Oh, please
no,
don't,
no,
please don't.
please.
but it's really funny. It's also
Yeah.
got that shock humor, but everything's played up to really well, and all the characters are really funny and interesting. I
Okay.
never got bored watching it, unlike when I got bored watching Nichijou, and more people need to watch this.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my number 2, right?
Yep.
My number 1 is gonna be I had to look this up because I was not sure when it aired, but apparently it counts, so I'm gonna throw it to Dana ga nani o iteru wa kuranai ken.
Oh, I
Or
can't understand what my husband is saying.
yeah, that's a good one. It's a short, but apparently it has 26 episodes and 2 seasons, so that's like the only series where like a 3-minute short actually got a good second season.
Okay.
It's very slice of life, down to earth of Otaku and a wife who married him and is trying to understand it, but they make it work. It's really good.
Hmm. Okay, that's good.
No,
Yeah, that's definitely for me to kind of was pretty pretty nice for me too. So,
There's a good contrast between this lady who's doesn't understand a thing about otaku culture. He's like, that's cool, and her husband who's a complete otaku, but they make it work. It's really good.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
overrated, right? Underrated. Yeah.
Yeah, underrated.
Y'all should
Definitely.
watch my list. Rocket Aikishi, Love Tyrant, Nozaki Kun,
And
and I can't understand what my husband's saying.
yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, host, thank you very much
No,
for your talk.
thank me.
That's what I said, but okay. But anyways, thank you, Toast, for the top list, and we're going to move on to uh, our last three categories, and the two coming up are, or the next one coming up is top our most disliked trends in the anime industry. So I'll just kind of go on. A lot of this can be just general like writing kind of stuff or like what themes are coming up generally. But
Okay.
so first off, I'll just go dark themes, just like being dark isn't necessarily a good or bad thing in a series. It's a tool. It's like harem is a tool. Just it's like isekai is a tool. But just because something is dark doesn't mean it's more deep or more complex or more emotional. But it's becoming a bigger and bigger thing with pretty much every series I dislike. Uh, Secondly is shosetsu. A lot of Japanese
Shiosetsu,
publishers,
that's a site, right?
yeah, uh, shosetsu ni naru or something that is the official title. It's like I want to become a novelist or let's become a novelist, and it is literally the Japanese equivalent to fanfiction.net. And what I really really dislike the fact that a lot of publishers, a lot of editors are kind of taking shosetsu's popularity and being like, well, we should just make like an anime or like a light novel out of this, and it's just long. Shosetsu just appeals to male, pretty much the lowest common denominator. So to just making a series out of whatever's coming out of Shosetsu that has a lot of bookmarks doesn't mean that it's a really good series or it'll appeal to a mainstream audience. It just means that it'll appeal to whatever degenerates are on it. Stop doing that. Third, a lot of these like isekai stuff that's again, you guys have heard my views on isekai. I'm not against the idea of using isekai in general. It's just tools and stuff. It's just like a tool again. But what I do like about a lot of these isekai stories is that it has medieval slash high fantasy. And now that, not that I dislike medieval or high fantasy settings, but it's an indicator. It's a very obvious indicator that, or medieval RPG kind of a lot of times. But using these medieval RPG high fantasy settings is a very obvious indicator that the author is lazy. The author doesn't want to think about the world. The author doesn't want to set up stuff in the world. The author doesn't want to think about, oh, what additional lore. They just have to be like, oh, elves and the orcs and the swords and doing stuff, and then the king does tyrannical stuff, right? That's all they have to think about. So it reduces world building to a terrible level, a very repetitive, a very redundant, a very simplistic, a very boring level, and I disapprove of it highly. Fourth is this may be a little bit more of a jab towards the Western community, but a lot of people are kind of ignoring the subs losing quality, and a lot of people, like Crunchyroll, for instance, uh, are just kind of going forward and being like, yeah, it's okay if subs are lower quality. It's okay if localizations are low quality. And especially with the rise of machine translation in these past couple of years becoming much, much more sort of popular and much less terrible. A lot of people are just kind of being like, machine translation, that's okay, right? We can just put this on. And no, not okay. Machine translation just barfing it onto a blog post, randomly translating is not okay. Stop doing that. And it wouldn't be even that bad if the fact that like official organizations are using machine translation. So please, like, just translation is an actual thing. People get paid for it. You should take pride in doing proper translation work, barfing out whatever you got from Google Translate. So please, just make subs better. Dark. top 4 most disliked trends in the industry.
I don't even know if I have a complete list for this, but
You want to skip over? I'll do mine.
no, I won't be able to make a complete list. Give me, yeah. So I guess like
You can just
I
say
should start
what
with
you have.
Crunchyroll. I should start with Crunchyroll just because it's like I just I don't know. Like I agree with you not only on the whole idea of like your subs should be better, but it's so much more than that because now, especially with the birth of High Guardian Spice from whatever fucking horror decided to fucking spit that out of the rift.
Mhm.
It's just like it's so indicative of everything that essentially we've been saying, and what I say about kind of like a significant company is, well, not a significant, but quite a few companies where you see them do one thing, and with Crunchyroll it's the subtitle, and you're like, well, you're not doing a great job. Not only are they not good subtitles, they're not even consistent. Like you can tell when subs are being written by a specific person on Crunchyroll at this point. Like when I saw the subtitles for Gabriel Dropout, I know for a fact that there is no doubt in my mind that the person who did the subtitles, whether it be the editor or the actual translator,
Mhm.
is the same person who handled the ones for Surezure children.
Yeah.
It is a fucking flavor of just terrible localization that isn't even to which that person I guess thinks they're funny by doing. Whatever. That should have been weeded out long ago, but now instead we have them opening up a fucking studio to try and make more original. When you don't even have your basis down, you probably shouldn't be branching out and more original content.
Yeah.
Focus on actually securing fucking company first. Moving on from that, I would say another thing I really dislike, I'm starting to dislike is, I guess, a lot of the growth of certain shows and certain things in the West and the inconsistency with how people try to take them.
Mhm.
So I wrote in my notes just My Hero Academia fans in general. Don't like them.
Uh,
But
well, wait. These.
I would say a different aspect, which is somewhat evident from that whole deal, is probably the idea that people try and take anime way too seriously in that regards, where they'll look at something and they'll be like, you know what? I hate, like, I think this part is really cool, and I love X, Y, and Z about this show, or like this series, or this can whatever. But then,
Mhm.
like, but then they'll also turn around and be like, but you know what? What if it was completely different? And what if I changed it entirely? Like, stop doing that. Like, just leave a fucking media, like, to be what it is. Like, leave
Right.
an IP alone and make your own thing if you're that concerned.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
stop. Like, don't do the. It's the same sort of idea that people get for some reason, like comic books, where you just essentially race swap comic book heroes and think that you've done good. It's like, you could just make a cool new comic hero that's
Yeah.
whatever ethnicity, creed, or whatever you wish to get.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Um, VN grow, like the way VNs are coming out more and more in the West and being more and more, I guess, popular. I haven't liked in the past 4 years.
Okay. That's
I
the
mean,
way they're coming out in like the West.
yeah, I mean, just
Yeah.
everything about it at this point. Like Steam is a terrible place for VNs, it seems.
A lot, a
That
lot of
whole the
standards.
whole ordeal of it has been a
Yeah.
mess too. And then you also have the communities of like shit like Doki Doki Literature Club getting overblown,
Yeah, and they're like being
Bad
integrated,
Aid
like
being
that
overblown.
culture is being integrated with, the Japanese VNs that are coming out.
Yeah, and it's like they're trying, I guess, appease that audience too now because they see
Yeah,
money there.
yeah, exactly.
Fortunately, um, the trend of Okada Marie not making good things. That's been a hell of a one. Though I guess that kind of ended with Hisone Tuma. Though I haven't finished that series yet, so
Yeah,
it's up in the air for.
but
I think I got to like episode 9.
I think that stint or that streak where she had to do both Kisniver and Mayoga, not her defining moment. I want to say.
I mean, it
Not
wasn't even just Kisniver and Mayoiga. It just seemed like she couldn't really do a lot of her own stuff up until, or like she didn't have a ton of freedom up until Hisone Tomasa-san.
Yeah, and also like because she was probably just all worked up with the movie Makia.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, anything from 2014 onward, it's just like,
what's happening?
was it Wecross or whatever, however you say that card game one from
Yeah, we
JC
crossed.
staff,
Yeah.
and then Kisniver and Mayoiga. It's like, what?
Three stop.
Yeah,
What are we
but
doing here? And Kofuka Graffiti also was kind of friend, right? Because she and I think Akiyuki Shimbo were doing it at the same time. I remember.
yeah.
Very,
So
very
it was something. But now, I mean, of what I've seen of Hisone Tomasa, I've seen most of it. I like a lot of it, so
Yeah,
hopefully that's a good
definitely a
sign.
good start. Yeah. And Nier, top 4 trends, most disliked trends rather.
uh, my list is honestly pretty much like the same as Spire's. So
It's fine, keep going.
so my 4 um is a little similar but somewhat different.
Yeah.
Is Madoka clones.
Yeah, there was actually one of the I wanted to put one of the worst anime as Magical Girl Raising Project. I'm just like there are so many other ones that are also bad. But yeah,
Yeah.
go.
There's just like it feels like almost every season, there's got to be some sort of magical girl series where
They all gotta kill each other.
there's a bunch of them, and for some reason they got to kill each other, and it's like, okay, I guess we're doing this again, huh? And it's just uh unoriginal. It's just like why bother at that point,
Even when it's not explicitly magical girls, it's still magical girls killing each other, like Akuma no Riddle, right?
Yeah.
Don't you mean Yuki Yuna is a hero?
Oh my god, that was so shitty. God.
It's
Anyways.
just I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's like like a dead
And,
horse
like,
at this
yeah,
point, right?
all these authors are trying to reach out for the next thing that will become Madoka because Madoka is successful, but it's not something you can just
Yeah, you can't make the next Madoka by trying to make Madoka again,
exactly.
right? Like you have to make something that's equally unique, right? Because Madoka was a success because it was one of the first series to do that, right?
Yeah,
It was one of the first series
it
to
was
take
the progenitor, yeah.
it take a genre like the magical girl genre and turned it on its head by
Yeah.
introducing some aspect that twisted it, right? It wasn't, Madoka wasn't like the fifth or fourth one that did it, and people were just like, "Oh, I like this one the most,"
Mhm.
Like it was original, so you can't just do Madoka again and be like, "Okay, I can get money," right?
Mm.
It's bad. Stop doing it.
Mm.
My number 3 is the death of fan subbing and the sheer mediocrity of the official alternatives.
There's nothing wrong with horrible subs Crunchyroll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We talked about this quite a bit. Fan subbing's been dead for a very long time.
Mhm.
and Crunchyroll's killed it basically.
Crunchyroll, horrible subs, and yeah, all coming together. Yep.
Keeping it down. There's just like
Ugh,
like
I mean, again,
what's
it's
the
like this
point?
wouldn't be bad. This wouldn't be so bad if Crunchyroll was like an 8, but that's the biggest.
Yeah, I mean that's why I put in the mediocrity of the alternatives, right? Because like if Crunchyroll was good at their jobs, the
If they
death,
did their jobs.
the death of fan subbing would be largely irrelevant, right? Because you'd have a good source of subs, like officially. Like you'd have no reason not to subscribe to Crunchyroll if they were like, good at subbing. But they're not, right? And not only that, are they not good at subbing, but they don't even like update their material with like BD quality content, right? Like
Exactly.
even after the BDs come out, years and years after, they'll still use the TV broadcast quality. And it's like, I'm paying for this service? Like this is something I'm supposed to pay for? You never update your subs, which almost always have typos in them. You never update your video quality, which is always television broadcast quality, which is not good. Especially considering the fact that a standard in the anime industry is to go back in the BDs and improve on frames themselves, right?
Exactly.
Like it, um, God, what is that show called again? The Bad Shaft one?
Hey, last
City
encore.
Kaku City Actors. Yes, thank you. Like if you look at the absolute atrocity that is the television broadcast compared to the BDs, like it's night and day, right?
Yeah.
Um, but you'd never know if like your only source of uh consuming anime was Crunchyroll, right? Because
Yeah.
you never even see those BDs.
Exactly.
So it's just bad services all around, right? Like
Yeah.
Anime is becoming more popular than it ever has been, and yet companies like Crunchyroll think they can just get by on being absolutely mediocre in every aspect, and it's pathetic, honestly. My number two is idols, and specifically idol culture. Um,
Wait, this is number what? Sorry.
this is number two.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, specifically like idol culture.
Yeah. Very much so. I agree.
There's really nothing like redeemable about it, right? Like if you look at it, there's nothing you can really look at in terms of like the idol fan base, idol culture, the way the fans obsess over idols, the way idols are treated. Um, like you can't really look at it and be like, yeah, this is sustainable, right? Like it's just, I don't know, it just seems like a bad market to me.
Yeah.
It's created uh some very awful news headlines, some pretty awful working conditions. I just think it's uh,
Too extreme.
I think it's a bad look for
Yeah.
Japan. I think it's a bad look for the anime industry. I think
Definitely a
it's a
bubble.
bad look uh, for Japanese music industry in general.
Oh
Right?
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
you have groups, you have specific people being propped up in an environment where uh, it just completely drains them, right? And then you have fans like cannibalizing each other and cannibalizing the industry itself just because the way the idols are marketed, right?
Yeah, and so much of this like, and you'll hear this like everywhere, but it's this idea of like purity or die kind of thing.
Yeah, uh, it's bad. I don't like it. Um, and my number one is isekai. I I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think, like you said earlier, it is a tool, right?
Mhm.
And, like any tool, it can be used well. But I think there's something about the isekai genre that lends itself to,
Let's say culture at this point. At this point, it's a subculture.
yeah, there's something about isekai, like just as a writing,
Hmm.
like context, right? There's
Right.
something
Again, as you
about
said,
it,
culture.
yeah, there's something about it that just breeds laziness, right?
Hmm.
There's something about it that just uh, seems to tell authors that you don't need world building,
Hmm.
you don't need character building, you don't need uh, like set rules like for your character because like 9 times out of 10 it's a power fantasy. So
Yeah.
it's like, what's the point of restricting your character
It's like the
when
perfect
the
storm of the
idea?
worst element. It's like it has the medieval high fantasy, so you fuck world building. Have the harem rom-com, so you say fuck character personal relation. And then you have power fantasy, so you say fuck, good, right? You're like, what do you even
Yeah,
have left?
yeah. Like, what is there? Like, what about isekai even remotely promotes the author being original, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? Like, you're already writing an isekai,
Yeah.
so like you're pretty much already scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll just write an isekai story. Like, what is there after that when like that's all you've got, right? Like, I'll write this isekai story, and I'll just get hits, right? Because it's an isekai story. People just eat that up.
Yeah.
Um, I think I don't know. It's not something that's doing any favors for any authors, and
It's
I think
very, very unfortunate how, yeah, it's like the culture that it bred, culture of the genre bred that it became so much of this stagnant.
yeah, I don't know. I think the sooner it goes away, the better. Um, the sooner people in Japan are like, okay, like
Maybe we should have borrowed
this,
stories from fiction.
yeah, like okay, this needs to stop. Like, uh,
Maybe making our top series like from fan fiction sites isn't the best idea.
maybe. But yeah, the sooner it goes away, the sooner I think uh the medium in general will just be better
Yeah,
off.
can go forward. Okay, that's pretty good. Toast.
Hello.
Cool.
What are we talking about? Oh, under what?
No. Top four trends that you dislike in the anime.
Worst trends? These are in no particular order. My number four is light novel anime that only ended 12 episodes.
No, very true. It's like promotional.
Yeah, promotional material instead of a
True.
straight adaptation. How come
Yeah,
Konosuba gets? Are they on their third season already?
they're going for season. Yeah,
Yeah, how come Konosuba gets 3 seasons, but Knights of Magic only gets 12 episodes and ends with a
yeah.
cliffhanger? That's not fair.
It is.
Where is my Rocket Aikishi season 2? Right after when they get to the Seven Swords Festival or whatever. Then where's my season 3 where they go back to Stella's home planet, home country?
Please no.
That
Okay.
I want that. I mean, I'm already
Okay.
getting Data Life season 3, so I don't think I should complain all that much. Still, some series deserve it.
Okay. Number three.
The subversion of a trope. I don't like that either.
What What do you mean by that?
Like One Punch Man, where it's a subversion of a
Oh,
superhero
uh,
story.
so
And
like just like doing it like parody or like pretending it's a parody or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, I don't like those either. I don't
Okay.
want that. And I mean, another subversion would be the. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. Okay. Number two.
Number two is. What was her name? What, anime podcasts.
Oh, okay.
Or anime, anime YouTubers in general, basically. There are ones that have good content, and give great, insightful whatever is about anime, and then there are some that just do it for the views, like the clickbait viewers, where
Mhm.
I don't want to say any specific videos, but
It's like they hate or like why you should love the series or
like
best stuff
like
or whatever
like
stuff like that.
power levels in the Tournament of Power, or is Kefla stronger than Goku, or is Kefla stronger than Vegito, and that's just clickbait stuff.
Yeah.
Or
I can see that.
the ones where like even one that really made me angry is Kaiba dead in Dark Side of Dimensions? No, you idiot, he's not dead. Pay more attention and no, stop making your weird ass assumptions. Pay attention to the material, know what you're talking about. Don't make clickbait videos, and everything will be all right. Yeah,
uh,
I don't like
okay.
those. And my number one is Isekai.
Oh, interesting. Okay. What about Isu?
There's the good ones, and then there's bad ones. Good
Oh,
ones, I've already mentioned before. Bad ones where, what was that one where the number one job? What's it called? The strongest class is appraisal or something. I don't like that.
oh,
It's, uh,
okay.
it seems the strongest job is not hero or sage, but inspector provisional instead. I really don't like that one. It started
Okay.
off really good, where it's standard isekai, where it's like, hey, I got stuck in isekai and whatever, and then the next couple of chapters, he's having casual conversation with all gods of whatever, like god of magic, god of combat, whatever,
Mhm.
and then he's casual, he's not very secretive about it. He's casually brushing this off. Right? He has his companions later on, and he's all like, they're all like, "Oh, how did you learn to do magic?" And he goes, "Oh, I talked to the god of magic, and he helped me with this." And they're like, "Oh, the god of magic helped you with it? That's something super rare." He's like, "Yeah, whatever." It's I don't like that kind where it's not taking not taking it so seriously when it's whatever. This
It's like some of these again. A lot of it's from fan fiction sites.
yeah,
Hard to.
written like some person's poorly written fan fiction. I don't like those.
It is literally fanfic. It is
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
somebody's.
You have to have some professionalism when you're writing a light novel or an isekai. Please show it. Even
Yeah,
some people hate Sao, but that's written really well.
yeah. The writing, all the hated side, like apparently the grammar and like the
Yeah,
writing
yeah.
stuff, and
Sentence
it's
structure. That's
it's
good.
actually properly done. So it's like editors should take note of
Yeah.
well done.
Better editors for your isekai. Don't just
Yeah.
lump any one of them. Yeah, that's mine.
Okay. Right. For the list now, for two more to go. Uh, top four most liked trends in the industry. Let's be a little bit more positive this time. So my first one again is reference heavy series becoming more common. Again, just people being able this forces honestly people to do more research. I do like it when people go into more like details and games or um other stuff. Not like anime stuff because that's like that's their playground, right? Like anime writers writing about anime is like, oh well, I just do what I know. But it's like when they're talking about guns or like when they're talking about food or when they're talking about like math or whatever, like random subject, they are forced to do more research. Really, like that's part of good writing. Um, then also increasing focus in the West in terms of light novel and visual novel localization, always a good thing. Bringing in more media, bringing in a lot of these are source media for like the anime type. So bring that stuff in, seeing what the source is like, being able to dive in stuff that's not necessarily just the anime airing, that's at the whim of like whoever's at the studio, publishing these or not, or making these things. That's always good. A big thing is increasing talent in voice acting. So it's like, obviously, a lot of the old guard are very good at what they do, but like a lot of them are kind of based around the exact sort of voice that they do, right? Like Miyake Kenta doing like Susanoo and BlazBlue, or like a lot of like these growly, like old, like characters, right? Nakamura Yuichi doing a very like cold or like dry voice, protagonist voice, stuff like standard protagonist voice, stuff like that. Like Hanazawa being maybe Hanazawa kind of being very, doing like the kudere kind of role-ish, those voices, right? But a lot of these newer voice actors, such as Ayane Sakura, stuff like Hiromi, Igarashi Hiromi, stuff like that. They are, and there was a voice actor who does Rin in Animecast Cinderella Girls. Apparently, she does like voice impressions like nobody else. I've heard her and she's really good. Like
Ayaka Fukuhara.
I think so. Yeah.
If you're talking about Shiburin, that's her.
Yeah. But I've
The
heard her
veterinarian.
Yeah, she does voice impressions. Nobody else. It's like, I think just a voice actor means acting out different characters. It means being able to do all. Oh yeah, Kayana I too. Although she did a little bit of, but she really burst scenes in these later years. But it means forming different. It means embodying these characters, doing numbers, doing different pacings, doing different voices, and voice actors should be able to do all. Like you would, like a musician, you wouldn't just ask him to do like one piece. You would ask him to do a variety of, and it should be the same with voice actors. I think these voice actors can do all of these things. Very, very, very. Last, certainly not least, maybe the most important is the increased, better sort of revolving. So obviously, the anime industry is very, very pyramid shaped. There's a couple of people at the top, mainly like S tier, like voice actors and stuff like that. And pretty much most of the money, a lot of the money, like idols and stuff. And then there are people at the bottom, like entry level artists, people starting voice actors like that, kind of have to do really shitty stuff. They don't get paid at all. They're living in a shitty apartment, eating shitty food, or even not very much food at all. They're kind of getting what. But with stuff like virtual YouTubers, with Dojin and Comiket stuff increasing, it's a lot of online integration, digitalization, people hiring artists online, people hiring translators online, stuff like integration between sort of this grassroots level and official publishers who have all funding. I think much better revolving door thing, and a lot of people who are very talented, very hardworking, very poor, and don't have a lot of these bottom are being able to be lifted up through online, through stuff on YouTube. Really, really appreciate it because a lot of these people are very talented and they need it, but it's hard out. So yeah, that's my 4 most friends in the internet. Dark.
So I'm gonna be honest. I really couldn't think of like 4 actual things.
Yeah.
So
Make up for. It'll probably be anime.
yeah, So I guess in the past 4 years, I do in some ways like the increase of slice of life that seems to be happening. There's a lot of slice of life series that are coming out.
Yeah.
Not all of them are good, but
Yeah.
there's a lot
not
of good.
easy to make like super good slice of life.
It's not easy slicing
Yeah.
that cake. Slice of lifing.
I guess like kind of on top of that, I'm not really sure if this is an actual trend or not, but I guess along with slice of life comes a little bit more rom-coms, and there seems to be a lot less like there's a lot less like harem rom-coms. It seems to be a lot more just like actual
it's like
pair-ups happening.
Yeah, it's like
And
a
then-
pseudo thing. A lot of times where it's a lot more of those too, where it's like you have the main hero and the MC kind of hook hook up at the beginning, and they're pretty solid hooked up. But then the harem sort of fake forms around.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm seeing, I seem to see a little bit more of those like supporting cast actually mattering, actually being support. Like I had mentioned with Konobi Jutsubu and uh, oh god, yeah, I can't even think of other stuff right now. I don't know why, but yeah, it seems to me like there's at least a bit of an increase in that, other than having 5 heroines in general.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Anything else, or do you?
Crunchyroll overextending, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I would say that's good then. I hate
Okay.
it, but it's also great.
Okay. I guess we'll move on to Nier then.
Um,
Did you
I'm
have
not,
anything? Or...
Do you want me to call an
I-
audible and I'll go?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie. I've got nothing.
You
Yeah,
don't
that's
like any
fine.
trends in anime
That's-
here?
Kizuna
Well,
Eye is
There's
pretty
really nothing he likes.
I mean- the
Do you not like how they're adapting Berserk?
the hard thing for me to say best trends, right?
Mhm. Well, you don't. It's not best trends. Stuff that you like.
Well, I don't know. See, the way I see it, the way I was thinking about it was like trends that have benefited the industry, right?
Mhm.
And uh not to be like a Debbie Downer or anything.
Do you
but,
not like
it's-
anime movies?
It's hard to say that like a trend in the anime industry, in an industry like the anime industry, it's hard to say that it like had an overall benefit, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's hard for me to say that like a trend is something that I've liked, right? Because I can't really personally say that like there was like some period where there was an influx of good action series, right? Because like
2015?
that's not really a trend, right? That's
Right.
just coincidence, right?
Right.
Yeah,
It's not stable. It's not stable.
Yeah, that's a point in time where there was multiple series that I liked, right? So I wasn't able to really come up with anything.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
That's
Toast.
what. Hello, it's me.
Do you have any trends that you liked?
In trends in anime? Okay.
Mhm.
First off, let's say isekai. I like my isekai. I hope it never goes away.
Have it both bad and good. That's fine. Okay.
I mean, what? Yeah, there's bad ones like Arifurita that's coming up, but then there's good ones like Slime Tensei, and then Kumo desu ga Nanika.
Okay.
I don't think Goblin Slayer's isekai, but I'll throw it in the mix anyway. That's good. That's coming out. Yeah.
Okay. And then any others?
Virtual YouTubers. Yeah, that's anime, right? Kizuna Ai got into voice acting in a Mojo site. She counts. She's paved the way for virtual YouTubers to get anime money. And
Yeah,
then
a lot of anime people are coming into virtual YouTuber stuff too. For instance, like Mao.
she's a virtual YouTuber. No,
She
she's not.
actually she very recently did virtual YouTuber stuff for Princess Connect Relink, one of Side Game's mobile game.
I know Supersonico is a virtual YouTuber now,
Yeah.
and one of the Hacker Dolls. I don't know who. I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, good job, virtual YouTubers. Now we'll just wait for Kaguya Luna and Mirai Akari to get in there.
their own anime.
Who's that one chick from Los Angeles who became a virtual YouTuber but is also an idol?
Amaki Sali.
Yeah, her. Shout out
I
to
mean-
her. She's super cool, dude.
To be fair, the person behind Shiro, for instance,
Is she
or
an anime person? No, she's not.
she does like voice acting. I think like she was like tier 2 voice actor before she
What?
did.
I mean,
Really?
And she was like
Luna's,
she was like a live streamer before this, but she also did like a lot of like Dojin and like tier 2 voice acting, if I remember correctly.
Luna's getting into the music industry, right?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure though. But yeah,
That,
it's a lot
that's
of
two,
good
right?
integration, revolving door stuff going on. Yeah. Two more?
light novel adaptations. This also includes isekai. I like my light novels.
And the last one?
And I'm gonna put down in is that the right word? Whatever. Enhanced localization for stuff that would normally never see over like exported from Japan.
You mean like more niche game stuff,
Yeah,
or like
like
more game
more
stuff
more
in general, I guess.
Senran Kagura and more
Mm-hmm.
criminal girls and it's a shame what happened to Omega Labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm specifically talking about are worldwide showing of anime movies in theaters. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a big plus for me because the influx of how many good anime movies that are coming from overseas and at a very quick after being localized or subbed or even dubbed is very surprising.
Mm,
Ordinal Scale was
yeah.
pretty fast. Heaven's Feel was maybe 3 months away.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
that's
British has
super
definitely gotten
quick.
faster in terms of like how quickly they let up the whole like project,
Uh,
or they start the project.
Kimi no Wa, is that a movie? No.
Kimi no Nawa,
Yeah, that's a movie,
Your
right?
Name, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
movie.
that's up there. Dark Side of Dimensions, that was super quick too.
Yeah, it
Like
was relatively quick
like I
compared
can
to before.
even next month we're getting a I think it's a worldwide release of the Boku no Hero Academia movie. That's super
Mm.
quick, and even counting that, mm, in world January worldwide release, we're getting Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. So
Yeah, definitely, it's gotten definitely much quicker than before.
so Aniplex and Funimation are definitely amping their gears, and shout outs to them.
Yeah.
Shout out
Okay.
anime.
Except for the fact that they never do Canadian releases.
There's a
Yeah.
Canadian release
Near
for
gets.
Boku no Hero Academia. You want to watch that?
Not really. No.
Well, then that's maybe you should watch better anime.
Really makes
All
me
of
think.
that. Yeah. On that note, we are going on to the final category for being for this 100th episode, and it is 4 perspectives on the anime community. This can be either Western or Japanese. And so, over the past 4 years, that I thought about, I think,
I don't have a thing for this.
yeah, that's
Let
for
me whip something up. I don't have a graphic for this.
for so again in no particular order. One thing again, it might be kind of obvious.
Perspectives, right? Okay.
People, I think, need to focus on quality of the series, not quantity or breadth. And what I mean by this is that like a lot of people are kind of saying, "Oh, this series has a white thing," or "Oh, this series has this other thing. Oh, it has the romance. Oh, it has the fantasy. Oh, it has the sad scene." That's not necessarily what just makes a good series. You need to make sure it has a good, sad series. You need to make sure it has a good romance series, a good, fan service or whatever. So if it doesn't ensure that, it means honestly nothing. So people, I think, need to really start focusing on that again. Second, sad series doesn't mean it's a good series, okay? It doesn't. Stop being like, oh, I cried over it. It was so good. It's like, there are plenty of things that can like trigger people to be sad, but the series can be overall pretty bad, even though it has a sad. Third, I think people need to branch out to a lot of other media more. I think obviously the Japanese community is already deep in it, right? But the Western community definitely needs to check out more stuff like visual novels or light novels, uh, instead of just, oh, I'm just gonna watch the anime. So I think it's always great to check out the source material and see how it goes, in my opinion. So, and last but not least, I think we should expect more. And this might be just me being a little bit sappy, but it's like, let's not be too cynical, right? Let's not be like, oh, this anime sucks now. It's gonna be all the same. Honestly, part of that is us, right? It's just us, expecting the same. Us being like, oh, well, these guys can't really do much. So what if they make something that's okay? I'm just gonna take it and just kind of run with it. That's why I think isekai happen. That's why I think all these manga clones keep going on. This is why I think stuff like One Punch Man keeps going on because people are just like, yeah, I'm just okay with this much. I'm okay with this series being complete fucking PowerPoint. And my answer to that is we should expect more. If we are able to be like, oh, this is a good series, I'll just watch the series and buy merchandise, I guess, sense, but that's only like one way to do it. But there are other ways, like support the series that we really like and that we know are good. Then the culture will change, and the culture changing is the biggest. So that needs to be the thing that drives us forward and being like, we want better anime. That's sort of how we'll go mainstream. That's how we'll become bigger and better. Not just, oh, we need to not have this or we need to have that, blah, blah, blah. We just need to expect more. So I think if we can work on that as an anime community, instead of just accepting whatever, I think it'll be much better. But a lot of times the community has just been accepting what's in front of them. Dark, any thoughts that you had on from these past couple of years, looking at what people did in the anime community?
Shit.
So are we doing one each for 4?
For
Yeah, right. That's what it sounds like. Okay.
you can do less than 4. It doesn't really matter. These are almost just like general thoughts on the community.
I don't know. It's not great, man. It's not great. It's pretty bad, actually. No, it kind of gets back into what I was saying before, with the whole bad trends thing. I don't like the split. The split of the community is so dumb.
What do you mean by split?
I guess like when you think about it, like there's two. Well, there's not even two. There's much more than two, obviously. But the way that there's certain parts of like the Western anime community, primarily, I'm talking about like Tumblr like esque fucking sections of it. It's like it eats itself. It fucking offers nothing. Like there's no benefit from being a part of that, or even like not acknowledging it, but just yeah, essentially like being a part of that or contributing to it in any way. Like it just tries to essentially almost like not animalize, like cannibalize itself and just generally like any anime community.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think that's going to last, right?
No, because it's like I
we
said, like it's just
saw
going to cannibalize itself.
We saw it way back in video games, right? There's a certain crowd. I'm not gonna name the names, but
It's me.
a certain, part of an audience with a certain set of beliefs who honestly isn't really all that into the hobby in the first place. They go in, they say they're part of the hobby, and then they try to inject whatever. And then the rest of the fan base goes, wait a minute, who are you people? Go away. And there's a bit of turbulence for a while, and then they go away, right? Like, I think it's just something that we're going to have to deal with for the next, like, couple of years.
Yeah.
But it is unfortunate.
Yeah. So, Dark, you want to continue?
4 years later, anime clubs still baffle me.
What are they showing in 4 years? Like you,
They're still,
Aura.
dude. They're still showing Oron
Natalia.
School Host Club, dude.
Natalia.
Natalia.
Now,
I don't
now
get
they
it.
added. Now they added Kimi no Nawa.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. They'll add that. They might add My Hero Academia.
What about
Sort of.
Anohana?
What about Skip Dance? Haha.
On Undertale.
What? Excuse me?
Skip Dance.
What about Pilot Candidate? Or Cowboy Bebop?
Okay, well,
Dude,
yeah.
they're not weeaboos, right?
Okay. But yeah, definitely. some
One
of these
Punch Man.
developments with stuff like anime clubs are, I think, sometimes going in the wrong direction, or not creating the best environment for people to want to watch more anime.
Yeah, it's been interesting. All right, that's something. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have many, I guess, overarching perspectives on that off the top of my head. I would say maybe my only other one would be like back to Crunchyroll again. I'm really glad that this High Guardian Spice thing is like blowing up with negativity, and
I'm not.
hoping that it goes further. Well, because that's the thing though, Toast, like
What if it does well?
the only way it's not going, the only way this is going to get better, like it's got to get a lot worse before we
Before
get
it
it.
gets,
Like this shit ain't getting better. So like
yeah,
What about a
something's got to give, and shit's got to go down. The worse this gets, the better off we'll be at the
at the end of the
because it's
tunnel, yeah.
yeah, like
is it?
it's
Well, I
not
mean,
like anime is gonna go away because fucking High Guardian Spice suck and
Yeah.
Crunchyroll takes a massive hit,
Yeah, but at
reevaluate
least the
itself.
Western community can look at better
Yeah,
alternatives, better
they'll
routes.
become and they'll become more aware. They'll become
Yeah.
aware. Like, wait, maybe
Rose,
like
you got a fan blowing in your mic.
I do?
yeah, something. But
The heck?
like the community as a whole, like it's like they'll become more and more aware of how like bullshit some of this stuff is. It's like you have like these shaky ass subs at best, and then all of a sudden you're throwing
You're
out
doing
this
all these
weird
side
show at
projects,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you're throwing like fucking anime police at me. These whack side projects that like you're obviously spending money on.
Yeah, significant amounts.
Yeah, and it's definitely not significant. Well, Bio, they can't show a trailer for High Guardian Spice yet because it doesn't exist.
It's just character
So
designs, yeah.
Wait 1 second.
But yeah, it's very, very unfortunate that it happened this way.
Okay, continue.
yeah, so
But
I
yeah,
guess that's the main thing is that it seems like with this might be the push that we like. This is a nudge in essentially the right direction for a lot of people. It seems of them sort of like waking up and being like, wait a minute, this ain't so great. It's like
yeah,
yeah, a lot of us have known for a long time it's not so great.
yeah. Oh, Nier, did you have anything like perspectives on the anime community over the past couple of years?
The community itself.
Yeah, community, man. Us. We are the community.
We're
Oh,
one big family.
How do you
Yeah.
feel about anime
How,
podcasts, Near?
how do you feel about watching Oran High Oran High in the anime club?
How do you feel about anime becoming mainstream?
well, I mean it's double-edged sword, right? It always is. But
No, katana.
katanas don't have two edges.
Exactly. That's why I said it's no katana.
Oh,
Just keep going.
okay.
Any perspectives?
I don't know. I think what you said about appreciating quality or quantity is certainly valid, but I think personally I would go a step further, and I think I would implore people to really look into who makes the stuff you watch, right?
Crunchyroll.
Whether you liked it or whether you disliked it, I think it's good to like research what you're consuming, right? Like if you watch something and you're like, oh my god, this was absolutely atrocious, right?
Yeah.
I think it's to your benefit and to the benefit of anybody to look into the studio, the director,
Mhm.
the writer, you know, series composer, all that kind of stuff, right?
If even just to get like a deeper understanding of like how this came to be.
Yeah. And not only that, but to, ingrain yourself into the way the industry works.
Mhm.
You know, open yourself up to uh appreciating, like, say you really like something and you're like, this was like fantastic. You look into it and you see like, oh, this person directed it, right? And then, you see other stuff that they directed and maybe you check it out. And then maybe you notice, you know, a certain style of storytelling or something, a certain way that the director decides to like visually tell stories and stuff, right? You know, uh, it's why I appreciate visual storytelling so much, right? Because if you watch something from a director a certain amount of times, you can see little things here and there, right? I'm not going to say, every director is an auteur or anything, but
Yeah.
you can notice patterns. You can notice some things that directors like to put into their works. You can notice ways that writers like to write their stories, and especially me personally, when you start looking into animators,
That's
which
hard.
is very hard to do, right? Because an anime doesn't, it doesn't usually say, like this scene was animated by X person, right?
Mhm.
Unless they're doing some sort of like gag, right? Um, it's harder to look into the animators, but once you start looking into the animators and you start like seeing,
The
you know,
art styles.
you can see the animation styles, you can see the cuts, you can see
Yeah.
the perspectives, you can see the way they animate momentum and movement, and like the way they animate fabric or the way they just animate a run.
Mhm.
I think it really enhances the way you consume the visual media, right? I would really implore people who think uh who think like they're really into anime, right?
Right.
If you don't do that, take that step further. Like really immerse yourself into who's making this medium that you enjoy, right? I
Right.
think
Because
that,
it is like an industry at the end.
yeah, and I think it's a way to take a step further and just find another layer to immerse yourself in, find another layer of the medium to enjoy, right? Um, you know, I sometimes just browse animators' Twitters and just like look at, what they're just casually drawing in their spare time, right? Um, there's a lot of stuff you can do when you just look into the people who make uh, the the media you consume, right? So I would implore people to do that, and I would also implore people to stop just consuming garbage.
Oh no no. Oh fuck. Hold on. But anime community. Yeah,
What?
but it's part of consuming garbage. It's like I think also part of that is people just like have no clue about how to think about just like kind of browsing. Sure, and part of that just comes from like it's very obvious people are like, yeah, I'm so sick and tired. It's like people like go in and they're like, what's good anime I can like fucking like it'll be completely ridiculous in any if you were to phrase this in any other sort of context, right? Like you were say like hey man, you're like, what's some you ask someone literally, what's some good music I can listen to? Like you'd be
You, you,
like,
you like jazz?
yeah, I know exactly. You'd be like jazz or classical pop or rap or EDM or what is it you like? Or if somebody just give me some good books, like what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, people need to get out of this mindset, a very non-informative mindset. Really, kind of, they got to be able to, go into the mud. Got to be able to go to the middle of it and be like, what do I like, and what is current or like previous anime? Also? They need to do that, and it'll be much better for them for it.
Yeah.
So
Also, final thing,
yeah,
um, something we said on the podcast a lot but I think, deserves to be hammered home, right?
Yeah.
Learn to separate what you enjoy
Mhm.
from what you call good.
No.
Yes, yes.
It's
Because,
my opinion, man.
It's just like your opinion, but yeah, go.
yeah, just because you liked it doesn't mean it was good, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it was well written, doesn't
Yeah.
mean it was well animated,
Yeah.
just because you
Doesn't mean
cried
it's yeah.
doesn't mean all the characters were super relatable and super deep. Um, it's not a bad thing that you liked it. It's not a bad thing that you enjoyed it. It means, it achieved what it should achieve, as an entertainment medium. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it was like quality literature, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I think that's very important for people to uh
And also not get too offended when people call that stuff out.
yeah, like I like bad shows, I love Mars of Destruction, but like it's one of the worst things I've ever watched, right?
Mhm.
Uh, I love Angel Beats, right? But there's massive, massive flaws in that series, right?
Mhm.
I don't get like upset when somebody points out those flaws. I say, yeah, those flaws are really big. But regardless of those flaws, I think the series was very enjoyable, right?
Huh.
And I don't know. I think that's an important lesson for pretty much
Yeah.
anybody consuming any media to kind of hammer into their skull, right?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Much near. Last but not least, do you have anything for us? Again, it can be less than 4.
Toast?
Oh, are you
That's
talking to
just
me?
that.
All right. For perspectives, I don't know. Explain perspectives, like for new
Like
ideas
things
I've had since watching anime.
or things about the anime community. It's like things that have happened in
Did
the
I
anime
already
community.
did I already mention how being a popular anime convolutes and makes the worst come out of fandoms?
I think you've mentioned a little bit of that.
I'm specifically talking Dragon Ball Super again
Okay.
with El Hermano, Ultra Instinct Shaggy, El
With Lucky.
Grande Padre, and Gohan Blanco, and the power level thing, and like the rampant rumors
Hmm.
were running around where they can't even wait like 1 week to see. I think, and the clickbait videos. I don't like that.
Yeah, definitely not not too great.
I mean, another good comparison is the Fate stuff, where people make videos of like X character explained, and they have no idea what they're
Oh,
talking about.
I didn't want to bring that up, but you did.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I
You're
brought it up
killing me,
because
Smalls.
I brought it up because I've been seeing it everywhere lately.
yeah.
Yeah, like Fate. Like who is Nero? And I'm like, and I've watched a ton of those. Who is
Me.
Emriashiro? And what is it? And like Emriashiro explain. I'm like, I'm getting them completely wrong. Don't do that.
Yeah.
It's me.
But yeah, very, very unfortunate. A lot of
That's
these
one.
people.
Uh,
Yeah.
Another one is, and I've mentioned this before, but anime comes in eras.
Please don't.
Please
2011 was the start of a modern anime, and we've
stop.
progressed 4 eras since then. It takes about maybe 2 to 3 years for an era, and we're already approaching the new era in 2019. Do you want me to go into detail of these eras?
No,
No.
absolutely
Alright.
not.
Number
But
three
yeah.
is I I've already mentioned it, but
How do you
what?
know we're going into a new era? Like, how do you,
Please don't ask him that
how
yet.
can you even like say that?
This is
Miyazaki dictates it.
this is the end of the current anime era, and we're moving into a new one in 2019.
What?
Have you not seen what's
Like, what?
coming up
What
in
do you?
2019?
Yeah, a bunch of sequels.
Have you heard of Arifureta?
Please don't talk about that series. Oh
Have
my
you
god.
heard? Like,
I'm
did you?
actually going to pop vein, dude, if you keep talking about this series.
Have you? Yeah.
But yeah, what's your next?
What's it called? There aren't enough good isekai, maybe.
All right, if you don't have any more,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I have one, but I'm saving it as my last one. But trying to think of a filler one.
No, don't you can
Don't
have it be
do.
less than
I
4.
thought you like already did like 5.
Or no, I did one. I did two. Okay, fine. Not that one. It's more anime companies are streaming on Twitch. I guess you get to watch more free anime whenever you want.
Yeah, the
Like I
Twitch
said,
integration thing is more
yeah, sure.
interesting, honestly. Or like the endless spread of ONAs, although that started a little bit earlier with like Nico Nico, but it's definitely getting a little bit more popular now, especially with stuff like mobile game, anime adaptations and OVAs. But yeah, and your last one, Toast?
Yeah. Perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, Toast.
I hope we get more Type Moon adaptations that aren't Fate.
This
How
isn't a
is that a
community.
perspective? What?
That's not okay.
It
Toast
is.
is done.
I'm okay.
Anyway,
Let me rephrase it. I'm saying
I was
it's about
talking.
time we get something other than Type Moon,
What?
other from
No,
Type Moon that's not
Toast.
Fate.
The point
That's
It's
is
not
about
part of the
the.
community, Toast.
Yeah, it is. Type
No,
Moon is
it's
part of the
not.
community.
All right, thank you, Toast, for
I
the.
don't like. What do you mean by perspective? Give me a clear cut definition. Like, have my opinions changed? If that's
no, like
No,
anything of like
100th
like let's
episodes in, and
say
Toast still does this.
like let's say for some reason people were on like a million different forums asking for like type moon shit, and now you're getting it, and you're like, hey man, it's really cool that we're getting type moon stuff, so these people shut up. Like that's something.
okay. Okay.
I mean,
I
wait, it-
hope. I'm waiting for when
No,
no,
what
Toast, just
I
stop.
don't think you're on the right
Okay.
track.
Sentai Filmworks is actually getting better
All
better
right. With
dubbing.
that,
Okay, that's
we're
a perspective.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's something, I think, right?
Yeah.
It's
with
closer.
all
Yeah.
right. With this,
Sentai Filmworks from let's say Clannad
not what I meant.
to from to Data Live to what's a recent one
Toast. All right.
to
Can we
to what was the recent one?
I don't know,
Oh,
man. You're
Toast,
talking
Toast,
about
stop. Toast, actually stop. Okay. So again, thank you.
Sentai Filmworks
Toast.
has better dubbing than as they go on. There, done.
Yeah, that's not exactly what I meant. But
And that's
anyways,
a perspective. That's a new perspective.
uh,
Let's move on.
anyways, thank you, Toast, and again, thank you guys both, Dark and Near, sticking, well, and as well as obviously, the listeners, the viewers out there. Thank you so much for sticking with us. 100 episodes in 4Player Animecast, all the way since 2014. It's been a long, long ride. A lot of people involved, a lot of people just, egging us on one by one. And just, again, thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you so much for listening, just sharing your views again about just just talking about anime in like a more involved manner with you guys. Again, with the host here. Thank you, Dark. Thank you, Near. Thank you, Toast, for
My
making all this
last.
possible.
Dude, you're last all night.
You
But,
asked to be.
yeah. But anyways, thank you all for making this so possible, and to the viewers out there, to the listeners out there, we hope that even from especially from episode 100 onwards. We can continue to give you guys a podcast where we're always spitting the real talk. We're always talking about more of, going beyond and saying, can we do more? Can we talk about this more? Can we think about? Can we make think about anime? What do we like about anime? Just being able to talk about it, in a more friendly, more involved manner with all of you guys. So, oh man, I'm getting sappy, anyways. But anyways, again, thank you all for being with us, and again, if you know where to find us, follow us here on twitch.tv/4PlayAnimecast, streaming every other Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow us here. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter @4PlayAnimecast. Follow us on our website, 4PlayAnimecast.moe. Next episode, we're still going to be doing the reviews, and then we're going to be leading it up to the fall preview season pretty shortly. But yeah, watch us here there. Check this video out when it comes out on YouTube and on Twitch highlights. And we'll see you next time.